Starting in 3, 2, 1. Yo, the neighborhood is a hype for the story time here. It ain't that hype. Let's settle down a little bit. So, yeah, we went to Anime Boston. I got back like 5 hours ago. It really wasn't that long ago. I got back 5 hours ago. And I spent most of that time, unpacking, getting ready for this, and then just existing. Cause it was a lot. It was a lot, but a little. We'll get into that. But yeah, if you don't know, for some reason, if you couldn't tell, this is an anime convention in Boston. I've spoken about it the last few years. I started going yearly since 2014. And I had a goal each year, right? We had very specific goals we wanted to set. So let me see if I can remember. 2014, I just came out as enby, non-binary, bigender. So that was when I wanted to be feminine in public for the first time, because that was a safe space for that. 2015, I did my first cosplay. Technically not the first, but the first actual, as close to fully realized as I could, cosplay. And then this year we had multiple goals. Well, last year as well, we had other goals. Like last year, I wanted to try a lot of new things. But I just listed my main goals. The main goal of this year for me was just kind of going a little bit further. Instead of just doing one cosplay, I want to do multiple cosplays. Right? That was kind of the big goal among, everything else that's possible at these conventions. There's a lot going on. Right? A lot of options, a lot of opportunities. Even in Boston, there's plenty of areas you can go to. What up, Broshi? Unfortunately, the Red Sox will not be in the story time, but shout out to them as well. Shout out to the Charles River. But yeah, that was my big main goal for this year. And along with that came with a lot of plans, too. Like obviously, having multiple cosplays is pretty ambitious, to go from 1 to potentially 3, because I wanted to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and, it was a lot of expenses were going to be put into this. A lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of expenses. It was pretty ambitious. After last year, I was very pleased and determined, But a keen eye might have noticed the title of this split, because just like any good anime has a good tragic backstory. I'm not gonna get into the specifics because it has to do with personal life and real life people that I value and cherish. But basically, literally, it was so sad. The last 2 months specifically, my life went a little crazy. A lot's been going on. I can't really explain it, like I said, because it's very personal. But, I'm sure some of you know already that I've been dealing with some chronic health conditions, as we'll call it. And that also recently flared up again. So, a lot was happening. So, and it had to be around this time, right? Unfortunately, it had to be when, I wanted to start preparing for Anime Boston. And of course, when you're actually at Anime Boston, there's still a lot of money to spend, right? So, yeah. That was just terrible timing. Just terrible circumstances in general, but the timing of it did not help whatsoever. So, because of that, we had to scale back a lot of things. One of which is that I had all these like cosplay ideas, and I still have them. I don't want to like list them because if I do it in the future, I want it to be more like a surprise, you know. It's not if we'll get to it. We definitely will. But this ended up influencing what I ended up cosplaying, which I'm still happy with. Don't get me wrong, but things like that definitely. And it wasn't a full weekend thing. I only did one hotel night. Yeah, just accumulation of things that I planned and was really excited for. Just all of a sudden, nah. And it really was the least of my worries, right? But it kind of sucks because I was looking forward to this so bad. Like this, you know, it happens once a year, right? And we'll get to this later too. That's partly why there's no music playing. It's because I feel like there's a range of emotions that we can't rely on one compilation of music. It's a range here we're talking about. So, yeah, that really sucks. That really sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Even after everything that I went through, I still look back on just the circumstances and the timing, and I'm like, damn. It really felt like it really felt like shit was just going downhill. Let me tell you what. But that's okay. We're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about what I did cosplay, which because of the budget constraints and the overall life constraints, I ended up doing 2 cosplays, but they're of the same character. They're just different variations of the same character. If you were on my Blue Sky or on my Discord, you've already seen, you know, what's gonna happen. But, yo, thank you for the... Damn, that is loud! Thank you for the 106 months, Glock. Hope you're doing well. So, like I said, because of the constraints that were placed on us, thanks to the tragic anime backstory that we had going in. Gold split, by the way, amazing. That means that I decided to just cosplay my fave, Marin Kitagawa, once again. I did this last year. But this is different, though, because this is the Season 2 outfit, which isn't that different. Like, to me, this would have been a good sort of like, hey, I already have some of the cosplay, right? So, if I'm doing multiple cosplays like I planned, up to 3, then this would be a good, like, you know, there's not too much of a commitment, not too much of an expense here, right? But we did not end up doing that because, you know, we had to save as much money as we could. Even the little changes here, we were like, nah, let's just, it's okay. And plus, like, to be honest, here's the problem. Like, this is heartbreaking for me. I wanted to do Season 2 because that's my favorite season of the anime. That's when this, for those who don't know, I cosplayed her before, not just because I love her, and she's great, but specifically because that anime and manga and this character in general really inspired me to want to cosplay and express my feminine side at conventions. It's very sort of like inclusive. It's very welcoming of like, you know, just who you want to be and what you want to express. So just cosplaying this character means a lot to me in general, but specifically Season 2. Season 2 goes way further than Season 1 when it comes to, you know, representing that. So it kind of sucks I couldn't do that. But on the bright side, the Season 1 outfit is way more iconic, it's way more recognizable, so it's like, okay, well, at least not only will people be more likely to recognize my cosplay if I'm wearing this outfit, but also, if we look back at what I did before, this is just one photo here, of course. We're not going to go a whole trip back memory lane. You can go back in the VODs for that. But you could see there's a few things. There's a few things that are wrong here. So I think the most obvious thing to me is the socks. The socks that came with this cosplay. This all came, well, not all of it, but the top, the bottom, the socks, and the wig. It all came in one package, right? And it was all good except for the socks. The socks were a little too long. And maybe that's because I'm short. But actually, no. This is an important fact. Apparently, I can't verify this unless I Google it right now, but we're not going to. We're just going to trust my word. Apparently, I am the same height as this character. So, if the socks for Marin here go down that low, it's like higher than like usual socks people would wear, but definitely is not as long as this. So that's the biggest thing that kind of bothered me. And it's funny because the first day that I wore this, I wore thigh highs. So really, the sock game has been decreasing over time. Whenever I wear this cosplay. Second thing that's wrong, I'm wearing like a raincoat around my waist, but you could probably notice that like my shirt, it's just tucked in. This is kind of a notorious thing that I like to joke about with this cosplay, because I did not know how to do this. This little loop that she does, this little tie, I didn't know. I never see anyone do this in real life. So I was just like, I didn't know what to do. So I just tucked it in. I basically wore the top more proper. So like, that was just tucked in. And then also I was buttoned up more. You can't really see it because of the phone, but I pretty much wore the dress shirt normally, besides the rolled sleeves. And those are two very important characteristics of her quote-unquote gyaru appearance. So those are definitely things that we wanted to address. Also, her eyes are, I would describe them as a raspberry color, right? Some people think her eyes are pink. Some people think her eyes are just red, but it's like in between. It's like a raspberry color. And I did not wear any sort of colored contacts, which was fine. My justification for it was that her canonical eye color is brown because she wears colored contacts. But that was something I was not willing to do last year. So those are just a couple things I wanted to address, right? So here is what we had last year. And then here is what we had this year. And I'm really happy with it. Came out very well. The shirt tie not looking too great in this particular photo. This thing kept getting undone. I did the best that I could, but it kept, just over time, it would eventually just loosen up until I had to just redo it. So eventually, I would just like every minute or two, I would just try to tighten that up again. But yeah, also the skirt, you get a little more thigh action. The skirt is a little higher because I use a safety pin to like make it tighter. And I just want to shout out Mew, friend of the stream, friend of the chat. Mew, legendary cosplayer, as we all know. So I hit them up quite a bit regarding this cosplay, including the shirt tie, whatever you want to call that, including the safety pin, and also including the colored contact situation. Because earlier this year, while I was still ambitious, this was before everything went down, right? This was before things went bad. I was preparing to get contacts. Because the problem with colored contacts, if you look up colored contacts on Google or Reddit or whatever, you're going to see very divisive things. And that's because some people, they wear colored contacts for their cosplay or Halloween costume or whatever. But they don't wear contacts normally, which means they don't know what they're doing. And that's dangerous. That's not good for your eyes. One of those things that you should do is get your eyes measured for contacts. Otherwise, it's going to be way more likely to be irritating. So back in January, that's what I did. I started this whole process. And plus, I prefer wearing glasses, but every now and then, just having the choice of contacts is fine. So we did all that. But then for a few months, I didn't love wearing contacts. It was mainly the putting it on. I don't know if there's any contact users in chat, but putting it on and then taking it off sometimes, but usually putting it on is so annoying. It was very hard for me to get used to it. Like when it's actually on, I'm chilling. But putting it on was always a problem. Just my eyeballs did not appreciate the sight of a finger approaching it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I just stopped. But that was a problem because, after a few months, I got to get used to it again, right? So then the past 2 weeks, I've been kind of training my eyeballs for this moment. And you can't really see the contacts right now because it's pretty far away. But I decided to show this picture first. It's like the closest thing I have to a comparison here. I look like older, but in a good way. I look like I glowed up the last year. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I know the cosplay is more faithful. But I really like it. I don't know, I look really young here. Not necessarily in a exciting way. I don't know. Anyway. I think the best way I could show the contacts, because most of the photos I took are around this distance. The best way I could show the contacts is if we take a look at the original manga cover. Once again, the eyes are a raspberry-ish color, right? I think it looks a little bit more pink here just because of the aesthetic. But still, right? Now, the contacts I got, well, we'll just do the comparison here. I did a straight-up just comparison. The contacts I got, though, maybe you can't tell from this specific photo, but there is a problem. When I was finally trying to buy the contacts, I knew that it would take a while to ship. So I was in my mind, all right, I'll just do it in a month's time. Once we're a month out, that's where I'll order the contacts and I'll start training my eyeballs, right? But I forgot something. I forgot something about life. Tariffs. Tariffs and just the whole economical, political landscape. I don't want to say I've never, but I've very rarely had to deal with that. But because most of the popular colored contacts are from Asia, that meant that it would be taking a long ass time to get to me unless I paid a crazy shipping fee. And I was just man, we can't do that, man. So eventually, basically, these were not my first choice for colored contacts in terms of the shit. It's just a whole thing, man, because it was annoying trying to find the right color, but then I just look at the description and it's not the right size for me, because it's not fully customizable size, It's just kind of made whatever size it is. So if it didn't happen to be my size, it's oh well, screw me. So that whole process was very annoying. I had to go through a lot of pages to finally get to this one. Just this one is it's from Moko Queen, the website called Moko Queen, which is based in America, which is why I was able to get it in time. This one, I think it's called the Jelly Ruby, something like that. But it's pretty close. It's a little more red. Again, I don't know if how much you can tell on the stream, but it's a little more red. I wish it was a little softer, just a very slight more pink on it, but it is closer to what she has compared to, like, if you look up Marin Kitagawa contacts, sometimes you just see like pure pink, if not bubblegum pink, and it's not quite accurate. So can't really complain. Most importantly, can't really complain just because I was able to wear them. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I did not actually wear these contacts until, good for you, good for pizza rolls. I did not actually wear the contacts until the day of, which might seem like a bad idea. I know you're probably like, Nara, why didn't you like just try them out in case something went wrong? Well, my thought process was I was just kind of sick of looking up all those contacts pages, so I was like, all right, the day of, whatever happens happens. that was my thought. I didn't want to think about it anymore. So that morning I put on the right contact and we're feeling good. I'm like, okay, wow, there's hope. I put in the second one on the left and it just really stings. And I had to take it out like almost immediately. I'm like, oh shit. Like, this is it. It's over. I can't just wear one contact. That's mad awkward. I should also note, I'm wearing my glasses because these are not prescription contacts. That was my original plan, to get prescription contacts. But like I said, because of the circumstances, because, they didn't have this in my prescription anyway, but because of all the factors, and I just wanted to make sure I got some contacts in time, we did not get prescription colored contacts. But yeah, I was like, I can't just walk around with one contact in. So what I did, I just used the contact solution, cleaned it up a little bit, prayed, and thankfully it ended up working out. The thing about, I don't know if this is this is my first colored contact, so I don't know if this is for everything, but at least for this one, when I first put them on, there's like almost like, just imagine if the stream right now was wrapped around in this like red fog. That's how my vision was when I first put these on. I'm like, okay, it doesn't sting, but like I look like look like I'm gradually getting possessed right now. But I suppose it's just something you get used to because it kind of faded away. So it was really weird. It was really weird. Anyway, I think that's it when it comes to the cosplay process of this one. If I miss anything, I'll just bring it back up later. It's okay. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I didn't really take any notes. This is very haphazardly put together because I'm still dealing with the stuff I was talking about earlier. So I didn't have time to write notes. We're just doing it. We're just doing it. Okay. I don't know why my splits went backwards. I think I pressed something by accident. Anyway. So, despite being happy with the cosplay, as per usual, we had to bundle up. I just zipped up my raincoat. I got my sweats on over my skirt because we gotta do public transit. And I ain't gonna be there. When I got there, which by the way, I was running late. For context, I was gonna meet up with Dog Knight and Sakura at the convention. And we agreed that we would try to go as early as possible. just because this was a Saturday. I planned to go on Friday because of everything I already said. Also, other things that came up that I wanted to go to just for, being responsible, whatever. I did not go Friday. Saturday usually gets crazy. Saturday's the busiest day. Not surprising, it's a Saturday. So we were like, all right, let's try to get early as possible so like we don't have to wait like too long in line to get our badges. And I was running late just because, I mean, low key, I put the cosplay on. I was kind of feeling it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm glad it turned out well. So I was phoning it in for a hot second. I'll be honest. I was not rushing towards the end there. But I got to the train station at like, what was that like? It was around 8. And it just felt like a ghost town. Like I was the first one there. I'm like, oh damn. Usually I would see a few people that I could tell was about to go to Anime Boston. But now it was just me. So I was just wondering, like, yo, if I was not wearing these sweatpants right now and this raincoat, people would just file in to see this random cosplayer on this bench. And as people came in, like, still, just no signs of any visible weebs, if you know what I'm talking about. Just like, okay, it's just me. Let me see what's coming up. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that continued. This is a nice little advertise. I didn't know that they even had these. I don't know if this is new. To my knowledge, Anime Boston is just like a volunteer, like no profit thing. So it's cool that they were like, yo, we're gonna put up this advertisement just to spread the word. This is the green line, which I did see like 2 other people in cosplay. But again, it felt like a little meager. It felt like, oh wow. I'm surprised that it feels like less than usual. Now, granted that could be for multiple reasons. One of which is that like, this wasn't a Friday morning. So like if you're staying the whole weekend, or at least 2 days, then you'd get your weekend pass, which is what I got. And so you don't need to be up Saturday morning, as I was here. So there's little things like that might explain it, but I was still surprised. So then I eventually I make it, and I unleashed the coat and the sweats and all that. This is just a bathroom picture. But there's another reason. I don't even think it's really a potential reason. It's just something that kind of contributed to the air of sort of. It was like chill yet somber is the best way I could put it. It was a weird morning. It was a weird morning to a weird weekend, because the title of this is called Calm Before the Storm. It's because it legit looked like it was about to storm. So let me go to this picture real quick. You can't see the sky, but I'm sure you can tell based on the lighting probably that it's a very cloudy day. This is the Prudential Center, by the way, the mall right next to the convention, directly connected. And this really bothered me. This put me in a bad mood immediately. I'm gonna be honest. This was like a bad omen. Because Friday, like I said, I had to go do responsible things. And Friday, the whole past week, I've been checking the weather a lot going up to this event because I really wanted it to not be raining. And then it would kind of flip. Like 1 week it would say, or not 1 week, but like one day it'd say it was raining. And then 2 days later, now it's not raining anymore. The weather forecast was very, flippy. And then it was supposed to rain on Friday. It did not rain on Friday. It was so sunny. It was so sunny. The weather was nice, good temperature. I felt so happy. I was so happy just walking around outside on that Friday. And I checked the weather. I'm like, oh, yo, hold on. At worst, partly cloudy for Saturday. Things are looking up. We're about to take some great pictures. Nope. Super cloudy. Looking like an actual storm is approaching. It never came, but that's how it looked. And that really bothered me. Because it's just like, I'll admit, I get affected by the weather. My mood does get affected by the weather. But, like, I would have preferred if it was raining. Because at least rain, some people find that calming. You know what I mean? And also, it's just like, it's more atmospheric, to say the least. Cloudy weather is just whack. Cloudy weather is whack. I would much rather it have rained. It just looked depressing to look out the window. And it also made places like this, which is very common in this area, and the convention, where you have these big-ass windows, right? So you don't really get... obviously it's natural lighting because it's the light. The natural light. But because it's cloudy, you don't get that nice sort of shine. The nice sort of... Like, I wish I put like a comparison image. But you could just tell... At least I can tell. It'll probably become more clear later on once you see other examples. You could tell that it's very cloudy. You could tell even without looking at the sky. You could just tell. And that bothered me. Not just because of the mood. Not just because it's like, man, what the fuck. It's also because I'm wearing like these red eye contacts. Which is fine. But when you have like gloomy weather and it's affecting how the light bounces off your skin onto photographs, it's just going to make you look evil. I had trouble taking a lot of photos because I would just look evil. Just because of the way the light was just affecting my skin. I don't know how to describe it, but anyone who like cares about taking photos, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, lighting is very important. You could look ugly in many circumstances of lighting. But then others, you look beautiful. You look so extravagant. This is an example where it did not compliment me whatsoever. At least in my opinion. It did not compliment me whatsoever. And I did have, like, I did bring, like, a little lighting. A little portable lighting. Not a ring light, but something similar. I did bring that, but to have to like use it when I feel like this area specifically, like usually this is a very nice area, but it just felt sad, man. I'm not gonna lie. It felt sad. So that combined with not the emptiness, but less people than usual than I expected. Again, Saturday morning. Things felt a little off. Things felt a little off right off the bat. Now there's a problem. During my rush to get here. Wow, 33:33. During my rush to get here, I did not eat. And as part of my chronic health condition I mentioned earlier, I have to be on a diet. Now, it's not a strict diet, but it is a diet. And I didn't want to risk anything happening because it's still the morning. Like, if I eat something bad, or if I have some sort of reaction, then this day is, like, super fucked. You know what I mean? Like, I can't start it this way. I gotta stay as safe as possible. And so I decided, and by the way, I did meet with Dog Knight at this point. Dog Knight was not hungry. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just get my old reliable. I'm going to get that banana and yogurt. Two of the safest things I can eat. Two of the safest things any human can eat. Banana, and at least for me, plain, non-fat Greek yogurt. And there's a CVS at this mall. And I look at Dog Night, I'm like, do you think they sell bananas at CVS? And he's like, I think so. Like, all right, let's go. CVS is on the complete opposite side of this mall. But that's okay. You gotta do what you gotta do. We get to CVS. And lo and behold, no bananas. No bananas. At least at this particular CVS, there was not bananas. I still couldn't tell you. I don't really go to CVS like that. I don't go looking for bananas on a normal day. But I'm just saying, at this particular one, no bananas. And so we're like, what the hell? All right. All right, I guess we got to go to, there's a 7-Eleven nearby. I look at Google Maps. There's actually 2 7-Elevens nearby. But it felt insulting because one of them was right next to where we started. Like, if we just didn't think of CVS, we would have been there a long time ago. So I was like, all right, well, we'll go to the CVS. We'll go to the other CVS because we're not doing that. Thankfully, it's only like 2 streets away. And I didn't take any pictures of it, but I gotta be real, it looked like the shadiest 7-Eleven. It didn't have... It might have just been the aesthetic. Maybe it's a relic of old times. I don't know. Maybe it's like a modern city thing. But this 7-Eleven, it didn't have like the bright logo, you know what I mean? Like just picture any 7-Eleven. You'll probably know what I'm talking about. It didn't have any of that. It looked very like a back alley. It looked like a back alley sort of like gas station. Except there was no gas. But thankfully, we did not get mugged. We found the bananas and the yogurt. And I gotta be honest, this is another bad sign. A lot of bad signs. A lot of bad signs. Another bad sign, we're just walking to that 7-Eleven, only like 2 streets. And, you know, that's on top of like walking across the mall just for nothing. I was already like, I'm getting a little bit debilitated. I'm like, this is not good. I'm already fed up a little bit of walking. And we came here to walk, right? This whole convention is all about walking and waiting. So if I'm already sick of half of that, this is not a good sign. So, yeah, here's my very sad banana. And as I say that, I'm going to begin eating my other reliable meal, which I just added lately, which is overnight oats. That's right. I love this shit. I don't care what you say. Eat your cereal like a child. I'll eat my oatmeal. But yeah. That was my breakfast. Which is bad, because spoilers, I would not end up eating for another, like, 4 hours. Like, so if basically, I would be awake for, like, 6 hours, and all I ate was banana and yogurt. That's pretty bad. Especially for me, because I have to eat at a relatively sort of regular pace, if that makes sense. All right. So, the first thing we thought of doing, which is a very classic thing, is the art alley. Because also around this point, we see Sakura, who's with their cousins. And they definitely want to go to art alley. But me, the art alley and dealer's room for me and Dog Knight's side. We wanted to go those 2 things because it's still pretty, like, again, not empty, but for Saturday standards, it was still pretty empty. So it's like, okay, if we can just go to these rooms, which are usually flooded with people, if we can go to them early before everyone else gets here, that's gonna be very good for us. We're gonna save ourselves a lot of waiting between all these crowds. By the way, here's the badge. They changed the badge system. I should also mention, there was barely a line, at least when I was there. Again, very early Saturday. They changed the badge and the whole like sign up process, so I think that might have helped too, just to make things quicker. I couldn't tell you how it went during like peak Saturday hours, but for me, I barely waited. So me and Dog and I start with the dealer's room because it's like I don't find it exciting. Like to put it bluntly, the dealer's room is just a place you go to window shop or get scammed. It's one or the other. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to say everything, but it feels like just almost everything that you could buy there, you might as well just buy for like way cheaper online. And I know it's different, right? It's different to like, you're at this convention, right? And you're seeing all these products in front of you that like you never get to see normally. So it's a little different, right? If order online, obviously it's like convenient in its own way. But it's different when it's like in front of you and you know that, okay, I can just buy it and I can just have it. I get that part of it. But I don't know, man. Them prices get kind of crazy. And I'm just going to show an example that I see every year. And I pointed it out last year, I believe, at least 2 years ago. And I'm going to point it out again. They got them amiibos, bro. They got Noah and Mio at $64.99. Holy shit. Nah. They got Pyra and Mithra at $59.99. No, no, no. You know what the worst part about this is? The worst part about this is that this is the only Xenoblade items or any reference I saw all weekend. I don't know what happened. The last 2 years, I saw some things, and it was great. Cosplay, art. This year, I didn't see nothing for Xenoblade. Another bad omen. It was especially shocking because they had freaking Xenosaga stuff. I saw multiple Cosmos figures. Not a lot. Probably like 2 or 3. But still. What the heck? I was baffled. I know it's been a little bit since Xenoblade 3, but come on. Come on. I was expecting the artists at least. But no. Nope. So yeah, that's the dealer's room is like typically the same. Not the same exact things, but like most of the booths are like always there. So it just gets kind of old. Like even from a window shopping, like it's exciting just because like, ooh, you know, but it's not like if you don't go, I wouldn't say you're like missing out. Anywho, just to give you perspective. The dealer's room at Anime Boston is usually 2 big ass rooms. It's dealer's rooms plural, okay? 2 big ass rooms connected by a hallway. 2 hallways. Okay? Just going through those 2 rooms and checking out all the inventory, like that is a process. That is a commitment. Okay? That is not something you just do and like, oh yeah, we'll get done in like 20 minutes. No. No. You're going to be there for a while. Okay? So, after we did that long adventure, we go to the artist alley. Now, usually, the artist alley at Anime Boston is 1 big-ass room. Because sometimes the artists, they'll sell their stuff at the dealer's room instead, right? So, that's sort of like the balance there. Like, the dealer's room can include artists, but the artist alley is exclusively artists. So, okay, just to recap. Dealer's room, 2 big-ass rooms. Artist alley, usually 1 big-ass room. This year, they added another big-ass room. It's a room that's usually for, like, tabletop gaming and, like, console gaming. And they said, nah, screw that. Get your gamers out of here. Gamers, trash. They did get some space. But most of that room, let's say 1 3/4 big-ass rooms for the artist alley. And I gotta be honest, like, I hate to say this. I love the artist alley. I really do. And I think this change was brilliant. But I gotta be honest, this was the worst part of the day. Dude. Me and Dog Knight were walking. Holy shit. Holy shit. It was a fucking expedition, man. Oh. We were walking. We were in traffic. At minimum, like an hour and a half, it felt like. That might be a little bit of a hyperbole, but like, holy smokes, man. It was not a good idea to do dealer's room and then artist alley back to back. Just terrible idea. Just awful. just it sounded smart, you know, a while ago, but in reality, like I didn't know. I didn't know that they expanded the artist alley. We didn't know until we got there. And when we got there, well, we're already there, so we might as well keep going. Oh yeah, you keep going, all right. You definitely keep going. Holy smokes. And I'm glad, again, I think it's a good thing. I'm glad I got to see all those artists have their own booths. So much good art. I didn't buy anything this time, just because I don't have to keep repeating this, but in case you just came in or whatever, but circumstances, personal life stuff. I didn't want to buy any art. Not to mention, there's still other prints that I have. I have not hung up on my wall because there's not enough room. But regardless, it didn't matter if I wanted to buy something per se. I just love to see the art from all those artists. And also, you know, like, there's charms, there's pins, there's, like, smaller prints. There's a variety of things you can get there. So it's just all fun to look at. Like, even purely just as a spectator. It's just nice to go through. The problem is a lot of traffic. And at this point, you know, this was getting towards like usual Saturday rush hour, right? A lot of traffic, a lot of walking, a lot of waiting. It's like start, stop for so long. And that's why it was terrible. At some point, also just because there's more booths, that does have like more stimuli, which some people aren't going to be bothered by, but when you're tired, 4 hours of sleep, all you've had is a banana and yogurt, and you've been walking for an hour and a half. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. It's a little overwhelming. I even told Dog Night, I'm like, hey, look. Hey, look, man, we'll come back later. Like, I'm good. I'm good. I did give up eventually. Holy. That was bad. Worst part of the day, unironically. And I hate to say that because I don't want to sound like I'm not supporting the Artist Alley. Because it's great. So at this point, I do have a hotel room for one night. And usually the check-in is at 4 p.m. That's like the default time, which I think is terrible for me. Because that means, like, you know, I get there at 8 or 9, right? That's many hours without a hotel room. Which is convenient. Like, I know, like, I've been saying that I'm trying to save money and all that, and then I could get a hotel room. But it's just so valuable to me just to have my own space. So whether that be, like, just me going there to recover my energy, just me going there to eat, because, you know, it can be hard to find a place to eat unless you want to sit on the floor. Whether it's because cosplay prep or maintenance or my chronic health condition or, you know, just be whatever, right? There's so many, showering, obviously. There's so many things that, to me, it just gives me so much comfort to have a hotel room right there. Like, at any point, it's just a couple steps away. Like, to me, that is so important, right? Even if I don't go there often, it's just, you know, it's just nice to know that it's gonna have my back in case anything goes wrong, or if I simply feel tired, I can just go there and we're good, right? So for me, 4 p.m. is not gonna cut it. That's too late. So I did request early check-in. And this was probably the first thing of the day, besides my cosplay ending up well. This was the first thing of the day that I felt, you know, finally we're going up. We're starting to move up in the world. And that's because, hold on, hello? There we go. Here's me in the hotel. That's because I don't know why this happened. I don't know if it's just random. I don't know if there's a mistake. I don't know if they just had an extra one. I don't really know. But for some reason this year, well, first of all, they got me the room. Oh, I should explain this. I forgot about this moment. So, when I first requested my early check-in, that was like around when I first entered, right? And it was just this nice guy. Like, this guy was pretty chill, and he was like, yeah, man, I wanted to... He was telling me, like, yeah, like, I back in the day, like, I would dress up with my friends as, like, Pokemon. And because of the convention, I asked my boss, like, hey, can I, like, dress up as Charizard? Can I dress up as Charizard and just, like, be at the front desk? And well, no, they did not allow that. Which is not surprising, but, like, it's a shame, right? It would have been sick. It would have been sick. Even like a Kigurumi would have been cool, you know? But, yeah, he was telling me all that. Very friendly dude. But then they call you whenever your room's ready, which I think for me was, like, around 12. Something like that. Which was good. That's a good time. I go to the front desk again. And I see the guy. He's there. But then there's another lady who's, like, calling me up. And she was the one who called me. But when she called, I didn't end up picking up because we were in the middle of all the traffic, right? And by the time I even noticed, it was, like, gone. So I was like, oh, okay. They called me, but they didn't leave a voicemail. I would have to assume that's the hotel room. And then she went on this whole like, it's not, I don't know what to call it. I didn't know what to make of it in the moment, cause I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I think my hotel room's ready. Like, I got a call. It didn't have a voicemail, but I would assume that call is because of the hotel room. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, I mean, that's weird you didn't get a voicemail though. Like, I felt like they should explain that to you. And then the girl was like, oh, that was me. But the way she was speaking was very like blunt, like not. You're like, oh yeah, that was me. I don't leave voicemails. She just went on this whole like thing. Like, she was very insistent that like, hey, look, no voicemails. And it made me feel like, oh, is she like I couldn't tell if she was being rude or if she was like kind of like having this awkward banter with the dude. But eventually it does sort of like, oh, okay, no, you are like a nice person. You know what I mean? Like, cause sometimes people's like sense of humor, you don't quite understand it or vibe with it, cause like it can be dependent on their personality. Some people have like dry humor or what have you. I didn't know this woman, so I couldn't really tell. But as we're doing the process, she's getting my room ready. She just starts telling me like, "Oh yeah, are you enjoying the convention?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's great. I come here. I came here the past few years." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. And I had to give her my ID, which I'm just a guy on that ID. And plus, I'm sure she can tell, which is a common experience, I'm sure, for many other people checking into hotels for the anime convention. And so she says like, "Oh yeah, no, I think it's a good thing because like I get to meet all these people and like it's just what she say. She said something like it's like good that people get to be themselves, right?" And that just touched my heart. That just warmed my heart because that reminded me of the My Dress Up Darling convention episode I was talking about before, where I was like, it kind of reminded me like after all the hell I went through with all with all that traffic and all that walking, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like you're right, like I am here for a good reason. But on top of that, as I was about to say before, for some reason they gave me like one of the top class rooms, at least of the type of room that I got, that being a double bed. They gave me like one of the top, like literally the top. Like, I'm talking about the top of the building. Like, they gave me like one of the top floors, which it wouldn't require me, but it gives me the option of using the quote unquote priority elevator, which means that like I can get to my room like really fast. I can just go to that elevator and it'll just like, yeah, skip all these other floors. Bam. There you go. And obviously, as you can expect, a great view. Honestly, I'm not even so this is just the, where is it? This is just like the bedroom. There's like a bedroom, but there's also a lounge area that I didn't photograph. But then there's something else too. I don't know what it was. I didn't go in it. Maybe that sounds stupid, but I... Oh, okay, yes. I'm pretty sure that they gave me like a whole suite. Because like I said, it's supposed to be double bed, but this is just one bed. So I think the other room I never went into was the other bedroom. But I didn't go in there because it like the door handle, I don't explain this, but when you scan the card or the key, whatever, it didn't have one of those. So I was like, oh, is this not for me? I don't know. I was confused. I didn't expect to get a whole suite. I don't know why I got it. But they were just like, yo, have it. It's funny because the whole early check-in thing is like, yo, we'll see what's available. It's like sold out. The convention. We'll see what's available. But then they just give me this whole ass suite. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take it. I ain't gonna say no. And, you know, like I said, it's just nice to have a place to rest at and just to be alone. There are, like, dedicated quiet spaces at the convention for these purposes, but you're not actually alone. It's nice to actually be alone, if you know what I'm saying. I felt so refreshed. But yeah, that's we'll end up coming back to this, of course. But that's kind of the TLDR of my hotel room. All right. So, kind of similarly to last year, I wanted to see what new like panels or events I could go to. Just kind of experience as much of the convention as I could. And a lot of that's based on timing, right? Like, there's plenty of events that I'd love to go to, but the timing just doesn't work out. In this case, though, it worked out perfectly. Oh, I should mention right off the bat. So, I should mention this a long time ago. I will admit, like, the guest lineup for this convention did not resonate as strongly with me as the years prior. Like, was that last year? Last year or 2 years ago, we had, like, Lotus Juice? We had Queen Bee? It was crazy. This year, we had some good names. Like, for example, we had the Apothecary Diaries writer. Like, the original writer. So there's a lot of, like, Apothecary Diaries events. But, like, I'm not gonna lie, you know, I'm not gonna get into this now, but I fell off that. Like, I don't really care anymore. So, I mean, even if I did still, like, care, it wasn't, like, the type of events that I'd be, like, super excited about. Like a Q&A and whatever. Like, I'm just like, So, there's a lot of good guests, but, like, in terms of, like, my personal tastes and interests, not really my vibe. So, like, I didn't go to a single concert this year, which is weird. Usually I go to one. Like, even back in Anime Boston 2015, I went to a concert. So, that was definitely, like, I think that's kind of emblematic of what I'm talking about, where, like, I wasn't really invested in the lineup as much this time. In fact, like, when I look at the schedule, I don't want to say most, but the day that had the most interesting stuff to me was Friday, which is a shame because, you know, I didn't end up going on Friday. So, it's just a matter of, like, okay, I'm free right now. What's coming up imminently that would be a good idea, especially if it's one that I haven't done before. That way I just experience new things. In this case, it was a very popular event that I've always been curious about. It's called the Cosplay Deathmatch. And to be honest, it's pretty much what the description says. Like, each panel or event has a brief description, of course, to let you know what you're getting into. And admittedly, some of them are mad vague. I'm not gonna lie. Some of those descriptions aren't trying. But this one was straight to the point. It was just like, hey, we're gonna have all these cosplayers, and you cheer for who you want to win in a fight, and then they just keep going on. They just keep moving forward, right? Basically like a tournament bracket of cosplayers, and the crowd decides who wins. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. But this is where things go downhill once again. Not because of the cosplay deathmatch. No, 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 no. Not because of the concept. Not because of the brackets or the contestants or anything like that. This is where we go back downhill. Because of all things, of all things that could happen, the contest deathmatch introduction as well as the hosts themselves were themes around Persona 4? Of all things, Persona 4 came to town. If you were a Persona 4 fan, you're having a hoot. You know, I'm exaggerating. It didn't bother me at all. I just thought it was hilarious. Because, you know, I made it known that's my least favorite of the 3 modern Persona games. But yes. Yes. And then, no, this was actually the worst of all. They had Teddy as the host. Oh! Oh. Good people, though. Good people. Good work. But I was like, oh my god, of all things, this is so funny. That is so funny. Oh, man. Yeah, this did match, by the way. But still, I was like, damn. They really got me there. So just give you an idea of how weird this event is. You'll have, like, the most random brackets, right? So, this one's not really random, per se. But I think this is the dude... I think the dude on the right is from Berserk. And the knight on the left... I forget exactly. Maybe Warcraft? I don't know. It's just... But it was a sick first round. Like, it was like, okay, nah, you could see these two people, like, fighting in real life. You know what I mean? So, like, thematically, like, okay, yeah, that checks out. But then, you know, as time goes on, this is the Danganronpa, and then I think it's Kamen Rider, some character from Kamen Rider versus some character from Danganronpa. So that's definitely a step further into the randomness, right? By the way, surprisingly, the crowd did not, allegedly, they did not vote for the Danganronpa character to win. Which is, that's another thing. I'm not doubting the hosts. If anything, I'm doubting my own eardrums. Because I swear, there was like at least 4 times where the crowd cheered for who they wanted to win. And I'm like, oh yeah, clearly this character is going to win. Like, it's not even close. But then the ghost would be like, the winner is the other character. And I'm like, am I hearing the same thing right now? What's happening? It happened like 4 times. I was so confused. But yeah. This was probably the weirdest one of all. I just did not expect it. It's like the Pokemon from, I think from the Scarlet Violet DLC that I never played. Versus Rido? We got a Rido cosplayer? Bro, when they showed up, I'm like, Rido? God damn. Even Rido's out here. I've never heard of anyone talking about Rido. I know it came back recently, but like, I don't hear anybody talking about Rido. I couldn't tell you that dude's name. I'm assuming it's Rido. I couldn't tell you the plot. I don't know. I couldn't tell you the reception. That shocked me. Rido? And then it was also weird because sometimes you'd have like very lopsided. So hold on. So you see like on the top there, it's like that Uma Musume girl versus Sonic and Shadow. Which obviously Sonic and Shadow is like a cheap pop, right? Like, yeah, obviously they're gonna win. Like even against Uma Musume, like Sonic and Shadow for the memes, for social media, for Gen Z, millennials, bam, Sonic and Shadow. But then you have this matchup, like Love Live Girl versus more Uma Musume characters, I presume. I'm really showcasing my knowledge, by the way, by not knowing their names. Any of these names. It's like a 1v4. It was weird. It was like, I mean, it was by design, just to mix things up. But there's also there's like other quote unquote mechanics that might come into play if the crowd wants. You know what I mean? But I still thought it was weird. Anyway. Oh, this was cool. You had Prompto and Claude from Three Houses. Prompto from Final Fantasy 15 and what did I just say? Prompto from 15, Claude from Three Houses. This might have been the coolest one. They had a Katara cosplayer with like whatever this, I don't know what you would call this, like just a banner you'd wave, but it's supposed to act like the water. Dude, it was kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. Oops. It was pretty sick. I was very amused. And then here's the full sort of round one matchup, which looking at it is pretty funny. I'm pretty sure Leon won this round, so then the next round would be Leon S. Kennedy versus Katara, which is just very silly. But I would say this is a fun event. I could, like, when I say it's popular, it's like super popular. There are so many people watching this. It was crazy. But the thing for me is that it's a 2-hour event. And as much as I was having fun, like, I wasn't having that much fun. Not 2 hours fun. Because again, I did not get to go Friday. Saturday is the only day here that I'm there for the full amount of time. So it's like I can't, if I'm gonna be somewhere for 2 hours, it's very hard for me to convince me of that. Plus, remember, I still only ate the banana and toast. So I was starving. Like, halfway through round one, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm sticking around, because I'm starving. So just because of, like, time constraints and just an empty stomach, I was like, nah, look, this is fun, but I got a blast. So, that's the Cosplay Deathmatch. I should also, before I move on, last thing about this. We went to this, we as in me and Dog Knight, we went to this event instead of the Holo Live karaoke party, whatever it's called. The thing that I went to last year. And while that did sadden me, because that was really fun last year, that was like probably the peak of last year in terms of like activities I did. I did not go this year because, like I said, I'm trying to like experience different events. But also, it wasn't the exact same time. Like before we went here, I'm like, okay, I might be able to make through this and not be too hungry. Obviously, I was wrong. But the Hololive event was like slightly later. So I was like, okay, well, if I eat now, then I'm not going to make it to Hololive. If I do make it to Hololive, I'm definitely going to be starving. So it was like, it was a lose-lose situation. Like, it was at a bad time. It was also something I already experienced before, so I just had less reason to go to. So, it's a shame too, because they had Ina from Hololive, EN. They had Iris, Hololive, EN. I think they had Zeta. Was it Zeta? From Hololive ID. I think so. Could be wrong. But that would have been cool. But was not meant to be. We went here instead. For the first round. Before I dipped. Now, actually, at this point, me and Dog Knight split up. Because Dog Knight, he doesn't want to eat. So he's going to do his own thing for a little bit. So it's my mission alone. It is my mission alone, chat. And I'm going to be honest. This is not against Dog Knight or any friends. Okay? I'm glad I was alone. I'm glad I was alone for this moment. Because similar to what I felt with the Hololive thing, I felt like I was almost in like a very sort of... I was just feeling the time constraints. After I felt like I wasted 2 hours of my life walking to 7-Eleven, then walking to the dealer's room, then walking to the artist alley, I was like, I gotta lock in, man. I gotta make sure I do what I want to do. Like 1,000%. And that primarily has to do with taking pictures. And I just felt awkward doing that with Dog Knight there. So, that was the plan. We were gonna get some food, and then we were gonna take some pics, okay? At least a couple. Now, we're not gonna go crazy, right? But that's what I'm gonna do, right? The problem was... There's a little bit of a problem. It's still quite... Not as cloudy. At this time of day, this was probably the brightest part of the day. Not as cloudy. It was actually starting to like... are the clouds going away a little bit? They came back. Of course they did. The clouds ended up coming back. But look at this. It's the brightest. It's the brightest it is for this day. But of course, it's during like when everyone's here now. Like it's no longer this chill moment where it's a little bit more low key Saturday morning. Nah, it's like everyone's here now. Like all the spaces are taken up now. Unless I'm trying to like squeeze in somewhere, or if I'm trying to like, you know, just wait for someone to leave. You know, it's full now. So that was very inconvenient. But I did end up going to All Reliable for food because I wanted to try other food areas, but I'm like, hey, look, I'm starving. I know what's right next to me. It's Shake Shack, baby. I tried to find some seats for myself because I was so hungry, and I failed. I could not find it, so I was like, all right, we're running back. We're running back to my hotel room to enjoy this Shake Shack. That's how serious it is. I got I don't remember what it's called. It's one of the chicken sandwiches. It's not the limited time one. They have like some sort of Asian, Korean limited time chicken sandwich or whatever. Not that one. But it also isn't the normal chicken sandwich. So whatever is the third option, that's what this is. It's pretty good. I mean, I'll admit, like, I don't fuck with Shake Shack like that, you know. I only get it because it's here, you know. Also, this is a fun fact, you know, real life tip, quick hack. If for some reason you go to Anime Boston, or I guess other conventions where like there's a popular food place with a long ass line. I know people don't like to do this. I know it seems inconvenient. But download the app. I downloaded the app ahead of time. Because I knew I was not going to wait in that big ass line. No. I'm going to order my food online so I could just go pick it up. Easy peasy. I'm not, no. No. Too many people, no. I'm starving. It was just so easy. So easy. So that's my tip. And waiting in line isn't that bad. I mean, that's the convention experience, is waiting in line. I'm not saying it's terrible. Because previous years, right? Previous years, I've had pleasant interactions with people in the Shake Shack line. But in times like these, where you're just trying to eat, the app works. I mean, I just gotta be honest. It's annoying, but sometimes you gotta do it. So this did actually remind me of, like, the My Dress Up Darling Season 2 opening. Both the opening and ending have some really, like, iconic shots. The opening, in this instance, for some reason ends with Marin eating a burger. I don't know why it ends that way. It just does. It's just a very memorable shot. So I tried to replicate it, but it didn't turn out as well. Because I wanted to get the French fries in there too. It didn't turn out that well. But just know that it was I had the right, what's it called? The right idea. My heart was in the right place. The fries were okay too. Like I said, we only go to Shake Shack because Shake Shack is pricey. Okay, well, fast food in general nowadays, pricey. But Shake Shack in particular can get a little pricey. This could have been a McDonald's, you know, it could have been a Wendy's. I would have been happier probably. But that's what we got. You know, it's either Shake Shack, in terms of like fast food junk, it's either Shake Shack or it's Dunkin' Donuts, and I hate Dunkin' Donuts, so it's Shake Shack. You know, that's the vibe. That's the reason. So like I said, at this point, now that I'm alone, and Dog Knight's doing his own thing, I have some time to kill. I go into a little bit of a photo shoot time. Now, thankfully, I have spared you from a lot of the filler, we'll call it. I have plenty of photos that I took that we're not looking at. I trimmed it down just to give you just a general thing. And this is actually a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Remember how, like, an hour ago somehow I was talking about lighting, and I know it's a very obvious thing, right? It's super obvious. Lighting is very important to taking pictures. It's very important to your appearance. But I think this is an exceptional example because the bathrooms at this hotel have great lighting. This bathroom, honestly, I'm not gonna complain about my suite. Okay, I'm not that bougie. I'm not that, you know, but. Excuse me. I'm not complaining about my suite, but the room lighting wasn't as good as previous years. Like, I remember last year, oof, going crazy. This one wasn't as good, but it was still good, you know? Like, you just look at, you know, for, like, these pictures right here. Oh, especially this one. This one is a top contender for my new sort of profile pic. I don't think it will be. There's some other big contenders later on, but it's in the running. Just things like this. Like, you look at the lighting, and then you look at this picture, obviously. Like, aside from the meme, like, that's kind of how it felt, like, all day. At least during daylight, right? Like, the clouds would just make things, like, so dull that unless you had your own good lighting, it was just bad. It was not good. So to have a room that had good lighting and no windows, just in its own self-contained nice place, it was great. I was living large. I'll be honest. I was like, yes, dude, this is why I came to Anime Boston. To be in this hotel bathroom, having a party all by myself. Hell yeah. I did base some of my like poses on what Marin does. So this is another sort of iconic shot from season 2. And I did something similar to that. But I think, well, ironically, I don't have it right here, but she usually does like a peace sign, usually like facing outwards with your hand, or she'll do like the 3, like the peace with a thumb. You'll see that very often. If you haven't already noticed that, that is something. That is a very common pose in my pictures, and that's why. It's because Marin does that a lot. Oops! Oh no, I just ruined everything. All right, who's down? No, let's just scroll. Let's just scroll. I was about to literally go one by one again, but yeah, this is one of my favorite photos I took all weekends. Might become my profile pic. Not sure yet. Oh, this is another good one. Oh! 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 It's peak! Look at it! How can you not look at this photograph and not think to yourself, this is art? It's beautiful. And you know, as you can see, that they have like the shower is reflecting the light. The beautiful light that is making me beautiful. In the showers before, I have said, high pressure. I'm making that heart symbol for the shower. I love this, dude. In the span of the 2 days, I took 3 showers. And when I took that last shower, I literally soaked it in. No pun intended. I was like, I need to savor this. They got that pressure on this shower, okay? They got like 2, they also got 2 like shower heads. Pressure all over your body. It's on the time of my life. But this is another example of like lighting. I know I keep bringing it up, but this was seriously something that bothered me on this Saturday. Okay, this is just a very important topic. It really bummed me out. So like, back to this room where I was in the Shake Shack. Again, it's not terrible, but at least for me, at least for my skin, I can't speak for everyone, but at least for me, it just makes my skin look worse. I don't know. So that's you know, I'm trying to demonstrate, trying to validate my own frustration at the weather. Also, I did, you know, in case you're wondering, I did also take a few pictures without my glasses because Marin does not wear glasses. So I don't really have much of these because honestly, I don't like how I look without glasses. But there were attempts. There were indeed attempts. Okay. So that is that. Now we're going to the arcade. Dude, there are times when I take 3 hours. I'm about to say it right now, guys. Just strap yourselves in. Oh, jeez. Anyway. So, what the fuck is this? Does anyone know what this is? The arcade was weird. I felt like, overall, quantity-wise, there was less arcade machines than usual. Like, for example, there's usually at least... I'm back here with Dog Night, by the way, at the convention. Usually, there's at least 2 DDR machines. They'll have a classic DDR, and then they'll have a newer DDR, maybe even like a Stepmania, right? This year, they only had the classic DDR Extreme. And that was weird. So things like that contributed to just like there was just less. It just felt like there was less. But even though there was less, there was also it also felt like there was more interesting arcade machine. At least ones that aren't usually there. It felt more sort of like niche. Like, what is this? I couldn't show you, like, because I was playing with Dog Knight. I couldn't record it. I couldn't take a screenshot. But basically, this is a game where, like, it's called Missile Command by Atari, apparently. Any boomers in chat? Play Missile Command? It's basically a game where you and a friend control, unfortunately, control 3 turrets. And then you use the wheel to, like, aim, which was pretty annoying, honestly. And then the 3 buttons is like, okay, the green one, that's going to be the left turret. Then the red, the middle turret. The white one, the right turret. You share the same screen. You're doing full co-op here. It took us a while to understand the game. There's no tutorial. Sometimes they'll have instructions on like the machine itself. You know it wasn't there either. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't realize we were sharing the same turrets. We thought the different buttons were like different moves, but no, it was very weird. Very weird game. It's not intuitive, I would say. But after a while, we started getting into it. We didn't do great like ever. But we went from like game overing instantly to like, oh, you know, we're playing for like 2 minutes at least. So I don't like this game, but I would not recommend Missile Command. And unsurprisingly, it was not popular. That's the hard thing when you start bringing up these like not as represented machines. It's like, okay, well, that's good for like, you know, at baseline, it's good for a novelty. But then like games like this, it's like unintuitive, but it's also like just generally not popular. So it's just kind of awkward. It was just there for most of the time. Like I very rarely saw people playing it. But you know, they did have a couple classics like Tekken. This is Tekken 7. Me and Dog Knight lined up to play this one. But I'm not gonna lie. No shade. No, look, no shade. It's my fault for not speaking up. But these guys were hogging this machine. These guys were hogging. Okay? So instead, me and Dog Knight played whatever this is. This is labeled as Blast City by Sega. But it seemed like a fake game. I don't believe this game exists. You had Mega Man in there. You had random Street Fighter characters. I know they've done like Marvel vs. Capcom. Is this Marvel vs. Capcom 1? Why do I only know Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and beyond? Regardless, it was funny because the previous people that were playing, the team on the right won. So Rockman, who's Mega Man in Japanese, Rockman and War Machine. That's the team who won, right? And I don't know if it's just like this, or if we couldn't figure out how to change it. But whatever team wins, they're locked in. You can't change character, right? So I'm trying to like scroll to the menu. I'm on the right side. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm just Mega Man and War Machine. I don't even know who War Machine is. Looks like Iron Man. Couldn't tell you why it looks like Iron Man. So okay, yeah, I'm Rockman and War Machine. I tell you what, whatever game this is, I'm telling you right now, at least at a beginner's level, War Machine is broken. War Machine is not fair. When I tell you that I beat Dog Knight's ass at this video game, I'm not lying, bro. Cause look, I'm not embarrassed to admit that generally, on average, Dog Knight is better at me than video games. That's just a fact. Look at Mario Kart World. Most especially, look at Mario Tennis Aces. But then there's also Smash. There's also other examples, right? But in this fake video game starring War Machine, I was beating the smackdown on that ass. Whew. I 3-0'd his ass. He kept changing character. Didn't matter. He kept changing characters. I was locked in on Mega Man and War Machine. And that's all I needed. The game told me, nah, Nara, trust me. The game said, Nara, no, hold on. Trust me on this. War Machine. Beat that ass. Cooked him. And it was funny, like, literally the next people. We did 3 matches because, like, you know, we don't want to take too much time. The next pair, it was like a guy and a girl. I think it was like, maybe they're like a couple or something, or maybe just friends, whatever it is. The guy and a girl. The girl just happened to be playing on the right side. Rockman, War Machine. They like barely lost. I was so sad. I was devastated. I'm like, damn, the world is finally free from War Machine. After like the 3 games me and Dog Knight played, and then like however many the previous person won. Hot streak there. Anywho, speaking of popular games, this is one of them. We'll just call it Luminous. This game right here, I felt like this genre of rhythm game where you're like touching the screen or whatever. It's not just like buttons. This genre of rhythm game is like getting so popular. I mean, it's not getting so. It is so popular. Like this machine probably had like the longest line of people. Which really surprised me, considering I don't know what this is. I mean, I've seen things similar to this, but if you ask me, hey, Nara, you want to play some Luminous? I'm going to be like, who? Like, this machine was super hot. Super hot. And I'll admit, I was curious. I was curious to play it because it would be my first time. But, really long line. And besides, there was another rhythm game right next to it. Look. I'm not talking about that one. Whatever this is, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Fiat Rhythm Final Fantasy All-Star Carnival. Now, I'll be honest, chat. I have never played Fiat Rhythm. I don't even know if that's pronounced that way. I don't know. Fiat Rhythm. I've never played it. I didn't play it on DS. I didn't play it on Switch. Nope. And so I thought this was the time to shine. All the other rhythm games are stacked anyway. This admittedly was not a popular machine. Not a popular machine. And honestly, I can see why. Because there's a tutorial in Japanese. Which, I mean, the pictures are good enough. It's not that complicated of a game. But yeah, you know, there's like a tutorial in Japanese. Everything's in Japanese. So, like, I can see why it might not be super appealing. Because, like, if you've never played it before, it's like, what's happening? Like, where do I even go on the menu? It's, yeah. I understand. But I ended up playing Genova from Final Fantasy VII. I got a C. C for clear. Well, no, it's just like a mediocre score. Meanwhile, Dog Knights played. We didn't want to do the whole session for each person. We just did one song each. Dog Knight did I think this was like the Final Fantasy 13 battle theme, whatever that's called, I forget. He did that, and he got a B. You see, Dog Knight outperformed me this time. I told you guys. But I'm gonna be honest, chat. This is, look, if there's any Theatrhythm fans, you need to rise up right now. You need to rise up. I'm not a fan of this game. I don't like this game. I'm not, at least on an arcade machine. Maybe it's different. Maybe it'll feel different on consoles or the DS. I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling it. It was weird. Because you have these 4 buttons. You have the 2 big ones and then the 2 small ones. You have the big button also be able to, like, move. Which, man, I just don't like moving spheres. I'll be honest. But it's like, if you look at the I'm just explaining Theatrhythm at this point. You look at the chart, like, it's all vertical, right? So on an intuitive level, how do you know what to press? Now, the answer is, you can press any of these, and it works. It just works. Not for literally everything, like only the big ones can move up and down, I think. I think that's how it works. But I don't like that. I don't know. I like it when my buttons have purpose. I like it when my buttons, you know, they're not just all interchangeable. It's just weird. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just confusing too. It's confusing. I don't like it. I'm out. At least when it comes to the arcade, I am out on Theatrhythm. So yeah, I mean, the arcade, it was like pretty, it was mostly packed. Besides the few arcade machines we played, it was mostly packed, so like, we didn't get to play much more than that. At least we were not willing to wait to play them. And so, that's gonna end the time we have with Dog Knight. So now I'm truly alone. Not only am I truly alone, but if you didn't believe me, it's once again getting cloudy. So yeah, Dog Knight, he's going home now. Sakura been out with their cousins. And I just felt like this image right here kind of described how I was feeling so far. Just these leafless trees. And this image is actually more significant than you might realize. I didn't even realize it until I got there. Because one of the reasons why I wanted the weather to be good, it's not just to just feel better. It's not just for the pictures and the lighting. It's also for this specific courtyard. This is just in the middle of the mall. And you might recall that I took a few pictures there last year. In particular, my current profile picture, I took it in this courtyard here. But not only does it look like shit right now, they didn't even let you go in. They didn't even let you go in. Which I get it. I get it. It's not the best weather for it. It doesn't look great. I get it. But still, I was so bummed out. They don't let you go there during the season. So I guess like only during the summer maybe. And it would make sense too, cuz like I didn't go here the year before the last one, 2024. I only went 2025, and that was when Anime Boston was at the end of May. So it's pretty close to summer. The weather was actually nice. So I get it, you know? But just this image right here, it just evokes a lot of a lot of sad emotions. Like, damn, dude. Man, what the heck? But you know, I did at least try to reference this image, because like one of the buildings, I'm like, I can kind of get it in view a little bit. So there's a little nod. A little nod. You know. Alright, so now that Dog Night's gone, I can finally unleash my inner basic bitch. Because I was like, yo, you know what? You know what? I kind of want a snack. And I also want some coffee. Because, again, 4 hours of sleep. So I gotta... I'm not trying to sleep early tonight. I'm trying to keep going. Gotta rev up the engines. And there's plenty of coffee to get around this mall. Plenty. But, you know, I said basic bitch for a reason. I want to get some Starbucks. I'm like, let me get that fast food coffee Starbucks, baby. And I'd never been to the Starbucks around here. So I'm like, okay, that's technically new to try. Plus, I'm like semi-familiar with the Starbucks food. So that could be like a nice little quick snack. And so I look at Google Maps. I'm like, okay, where's the Starbucks? And there's 2 Starbucks nearby. One of which is at a nearby hotel, which is the Copley Center. I think, no, sorry. Copley Place. It's like the convention is connected to the Prudential Center, which is then connected to the Copley Place. In hindsight, that's the obvious choice. If it's directly connected, if I don't have to go outside to get to this place, makes sense. But apparently, according to Google Maps, the other one's closer. I have to go outside a little bit, but allegedly it's closer. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Tell me how. Tell me how I'm following Google Maps and I end up at this random big ass supermarket. I don't even know what brand this is. I don't know who. I didn't even know it was here. I just entered this supermarket and I'm like, oh well, maybe the Starbucks is in here. And look, maybe it is. Maybe I gave up too soon, but this supermarket was huge. I'm like, why? Why is this here? Why don't I recognize your name? I think it was like a generic, like a star mark. I don't know. It was massive. And even though it's right next to the Prudential Center, it's like mostly normies too. So I'm just walking in there lost in my cosplay. I'm just out here trying to find any sort of Starbucks sign. It was terrible. Oh god. It was so bad. And Google Maps, like, it just gives you like a vague, hey, it's around here. It's somewhere around here. It doesn't like give you the exact path. It's just, oh yeah, go find it. I was lost. And so, unsurprisingly, I did end up going to the other one. That is the, this bridge is actually kind of nice. This is the bridge between the Prudential Center and Copley Place. And honestly, yeah, again, this was the most obvious thing for me to do. Not only do I get to stay inside, but I get to enter the Copley place for the first time. Now, the reason why I've never been here before is that it's just full of, like, luxury, sort of, like, higher-end priced stores. For the most part. It's not really my vibe. You know? I'm not looking for that. But I think it's just nice to, like, for example, real quick. This place called Burberry. I remember back in high school, the first thick frame glasses that I got was Burberry glasses. When I, like, graduated high school or whatever. And all my friends were like, "Oh, Burberry, I see you." I don't even know what they meant. I'm like, "Oh, does that mean it's expensive? Does that mean it's a good brand?" I don't even know. But people were impressed. But that's not actually me. That was happenstance. Like, I don't actually care. So whenever I heard about this place, I'm like, well, it's not really my thing. But honestly, I think it's just nice to explore new areas, especially considering this is so close to the convention. It's like the more knowledge you have, the easier it is just to make these on-the-fly decisions. And, you know, in this case, it's just for a Starbucks. Not that important. But honestly, I was very pleased. This is just a random selfie I have. Just very pleased with myself that I found the Starbucks. And honestly, I was kind of surprised about, like, it wasn't really that busy. I thought it would be because of its location. It's at the Copley Place shopping area, but there's also another hotel nearby. So I was like, oh, well, maybe it's going to be really busy. But it was, like, okay. And this is me with my coffee. I got the spinach wrap as my snack because spinach and egg, two of those things I know for sure that my stomach will allow me. That's okay, by the way. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It's like serviceable. It's like, okay, yeah, does a job. I don't know about you, but I don't know why, but my favorite Starbucks drink, not that I'm so... It's not like I'm drinking Starbucks. No, all the time. No. But I do like myself an iced white mocha. I don't know why. I'm sorry, white mocha haters or white chocolate haters. I'm sorry. I gotta be true to myself. So this time I go back to my hotel room. And I'm going to expand on this a little more later if I remember, because this is taking a while. But at this point, you know, a lot of things have not gone great. They've gone good. It's been enjoyable, but a lot of things have not gone my way. Right? And I mentioned many reasons why to go back to your hotel room. But in this case, it wasn't just to consume the Starbucks. It was also just to, like, kind of decompose a little bit. Like, last year I mentioned the whole thing about the anime rave events. I mentioned that, like, just as a person, if I get overwhelmed, or if I get tired, or if I get socially drained, or whatever it is, right? I just need a moment. I just need to legitimately just take myself out of the equation. Like, that's very important. Like, even if it's kind of drastic in the moment, that's just how I deal with things. I'm not saying it's the best way to deal with things. That's just how I have noticed what fixes the problem for me a lot of times. So this was the moment for me where I'm like, okay, yeah, things aren't going that great. And remember, this was an event that I was looking forward to for so long, and I had all these ambitions, and that started crumbling down the last 2 months. And then now this, I didn't get to go on Friday when it was beautiful. Now it's Saturday and it's ugly. And now it's just like a lot of things were not going well. In my mind. Like, objectively speaking, it was fine. But in my mind, I'm like, oh. So I go back to my room and I'm like, okay, well, hopefully I can kind of will myself, just take a moment and just, I even listened to like a few YouTube videos or whatever just to rest a little bit. But there's one thing that I really wanted to do. And even though I was like, admittedly, I was like quite demotivated at this point, I'm like, look, we didn't get this far just to like not do it. We didn't get this far to not do it. And also, if we do it, that's like the one thing I'm confident will like cheer me up. Assuming it goes well. Assuming it goes well, I know it will cheer me up. And that's the second cosplay I did. Again, if you've looked on my Blue Sky or on the Discord, you already know what it is. But I'm going to pretend you don't know. So, I had always plans to wear 2 cosplays on this day. One for the daytime, then one for like the evening and nights. That was always my plan. And at this point, you could see in the sky, it's still daylight. But nowadays, daylight is like until, I don't know, 7 p.m. So, I think at this point it was like at 6. I was in my room alone for like at least an hour. Like, that's what I mean by like, I need to decompose. I need to just remove myself from the situation just so I can start to think more clearly and give myself a chance to bounce back, So, once the evening came and the night started to settle in, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, this was my plan. I do still have Sunday, but Sunday innately is a shorter day. And who knows, maybe I'll wake up and be like, nah, I just want to go home. Like, I'm too tired or I'm too... whatever it is, right? And so, I'm like, it's like not exactly do or die, but that's kind of how I'm building it up. Like, I gotta do it right now. Like, I gotta will myself to do it right now. Like, this was our plan. Even before all the bad things started to happen the last 2 months, I'm like, this has always been my plan. It had always been my plan to do multiple cosplays and do multiple cosplays in one day. Because these two just naturally pair together pretty well. And I'm pretty sure I did mention that it was a variation of this cosplay. And that is the Halloween costume that Marin Kitagawa wears. It's a bunny costume. But you can't see it too well in this shot. Do you have a better shot? The next one's not the greatest either, but it has like the bunny costume. That's a very widely accessible Halloween costume, But it also has this unique, I think it's called a tailcoat. It reminds me of like magicians. Like you go to a magic show and they're wearing the little coat. It's kind of like that. So it's the bunny costume and the tailcoat. And just to give you some more sort of... This is not like one of her most popular outfits. She's known for cosplaying, right? But they're pretty drastic cosplays. But I wanted to cosplay something that exhibited her love for cosplay, but still recognizably be her. Like, kind of have like a sweet spot. Because I wanted to still represent her, but these other cosplays were like, they're basically different characters, right? So I still wanted to be her while still doing what she loves. And, this was in season 2, but, it was in the manga as well. costume is absolutely badass. See? She says it, I gotta believe it, you know what I'm saying? There's also figures, too. This helped a lot. I did a lot of research into this, because it's not... She has... I don't have a picture here, but she has another cosplay. I think of... Oh, shit. Is it Arisa? There's a character named Arisa that she wants to cosplay. And it's also a similar bunny costume. But it's not the same. Like, most of the components are the same, but it's mainly the tights are different, and then her hair is different. And eye color. So that's like the more popular one. Like, if you look up Marin Kitagawa bunny, you'll probably see that. I could be wrong. Because I would be pretty particular. Like, okay. Like, because I knew about, obviously, the anime. I knew about the figures. So that's what I wanted to do. Even if it wasn't like... It's not like an iconic outfit of hers. But still, it there's like layers to it, you know? And I tell you what, this was a pain in the ass. This was the biggest problem I had in the last few weeks. You thought it was the contacts, because I had that rant already. I already had the rant about, like, oh my god, shipping, oh my god, tariffs, oh my god, contact measurements, and, prescription, that was already a trial. But this, surprisingly, was also a trial. Because you're probably saying, no, we're talking about bunny costumes are so common. You could literally go to any Halloween store, costume store. It doesn't matter. It's right there. It's so simple. And yes, okay. That's true on paper, right? Especially if I didn't want to do the tailcoat, right? I didn't need the tailcoat necessarily, but you know, if I didn't want to do it, yeah, I could literally get any normal bunny costume, and then bam, there you go. It's just that, and then my wig, and then my contacts, bam, we're good, right? But I wanted to be as authentic as I could. I wasn't wearing the high heels. That wasn't gonna happen. My feet would die. But I at least wanted to get the tailcoat. And the tailcoat, I just think it looks cool. Like, it's a very distinct shape. Maybe this is more common than I think. I don't know. I legit don't know. I just associate it with her. So, that was important for me that I get that. But this is where the problem lies in. As a person who was not born female, it has always been a pain in the ass to buy clothes, especially online, that were designed for women. The size measurements do not always translate. Just because I think I got the right measurements and I did everything I could does not mean that when I receive it in the mail that it's going to fit me as expected. You know what I'm saying? Even like in real life. Like, I could be a size medium for this, but I could be a size large. I could be a size small too. Like, literally, if I look at my feminine clothes, they're all over the place. I have size small, size medium, size large. Meanwhile, as a dude, I got all size smalls, except for Uniqlo, by the way, that started making shirts, putting me in extra small. Uniqlo? I thought we were Asian. What do you mean extra small? Point is, when it comes to feminine clothing, it feels like a crapshoot. It feels like I'm begging. Like, every time I get my hands on one, or if I buy one online, it's like I'm just begging. It works. And this was a problem here because if the bunny costume just by itself, even without the coat, that was variable. I had to order, in total, just to put it this as simple as possible, in total, I had to order 4 different outfits. And then I had to combine 2 of them in order to get a decent fit for me. I think that's the most succinct way, the best way I could put it. I had to order 4 different outfits in order to make this work. Because that's just how, you know, it was very stressful. It was very difficult. It was very annoying. Yeah. It sucked. I'ma just be real. It sucked. Not a fun process, but I was very determined. And also, you know, just on a personal level, I've always wanted to wear a bunny costume. I'm not afraid to admit that. It's very cute. So to do it with one of my favorite characters, it's like, yeah, I mean, I gotta make this happen. And it's not like I have... I did get, you know, a few refunds, which is great. But it's not like I have more money to spend on an entire another character's cosplay. So, like, it just made all the sense in the world for me to do this. Just from a personal attachment, but also my limited budget. And we did do it. And not only did we do it, I would say we fucking crushed it, chat. I was so happy with this cosplay. Literally brought me back to life. You can see it's dark outside. That's how much time has passed of me just like, oh fuck. But I'm back. I was living large, dude. I was so incredibly just grateful that it worked out. It's not perfect. By the way, shout out to my Hello Kitty socks, because that shit is cute. It's not perfect. There's a few things, like for example, this was the best size available to me, but it still wasn't perfect. Like, I would have like few minor wardrobe malfunctions with the actual suit. But for the most part, it was easily avoidable. But ideally, I would find a better one for me. Or at least like somehow make the straps... I know the straps can be something annoying for people. So maybe that's why. Maybe the straps are too loose or whatever. Either way, point is, it was not perfect. But I was so incredibly happy. Like, genuinely so incredibly happy with how it turned out. Like, I'm not kidding when I say this shit brought me back to life. Like, this shit means something to me. I'm getting emotional. This shit means something. I'm not... Look. Especially after, you know, my whole mindset and everything kind of going downhill. Sorry. Everything going downhill the last 2 months, you know. All my plans going into craziness. And then just this day specifically was like not looking too great. To kind of, first of all, for me to just have the will to still stick through it, I was happy with. Because sometimes I'll just be like, nah, fuck it. The fact that I still went for it, because I didn't have to, but it's recommended that I take a shower, right? And that will require me like doing the eye contacts again and doing my eyeliner again and some other shit too. So it's like it takes a while for me to get ready. So at any point easily I could just be like, nah. But no, I still went through it, and it still worked out. And I'm very happy about that. Legitimately, I got a little emotional just talking about that. Because I was looking forward to this cosplay specifically for a long time. Like, I really wanted this one to work out. Now, before I go to the next pictures, don't worry, nothing gets too risque. I promise you, the TOS will not be violated. Don't worry. But just to prove how thoughtful I was of this, I even got myself, I think it's called a gaff. Called gaff? I wrote it down somewhere. It's like a specific, I think like, well, trans people use it, but I think also like men's ballet dancers use it. It's basically like a type of underwear that smooths out your crotch. I even went as far as to do that. So, yeah. I would hope that you could tell how much this means to me, just because I went through all that effort and I had to freaking go through the online ordering process 4 different times to finally get some shit going. So, yeah. In hindsight, I do wish the... What's it called? Not leggings. Not stock. The fishnets. I wish they were like... Because if you look at the previous photo, it's like more compact. But that's fine. Not gonna cry about that. Yeah. Very pleased. Very pleased. And I was you could tell I was feeling myself. You could you could tell I was feeling myself because I was just going in. Like on this mirror right here, which side rant was also a pain in the ass because I had to take off my glasses to do my eyeliner and my eyesight is terrible. Whenever I wear prescription contacts, it's like fine, right? It's awesome, but I didn't bring my I don't have any more prescription contacts. I have to order more. So I had to take off my glasses to do my eyeliner. But the only mirror in this suite is this mirror, which is not in the bathroom. So I have to like walk back and forth and like zoom in on this mirror to do my eyes. Oh, terrible. But I still love a full body mirror. And you know, I made damn well good use of it. I was feeling it. I was like, bam. And then I was like, bam. And then I was like, bam. Dude. I was going in! It's amazing! Look how cunty this specific photo looks. If you forgot from last year, by the way, from last year, I mentioned this as well. The wig for this cosplay, for some reason, I didn't buy a new one for budget reasons, but this wig is out of control. You can notice it sometimes. Luckily, it's light enough that you don't notice it in like most settings. But just because of that background's darkness. Oh, wow, you actually see the city. Whoa, this is cool. Hold up. The city lights? Oh, dude, this is peak. This is peak content, dude. Have I found my life's goal, my life's purpose? Is it to cosplay, like, semi-slutty outfits as characters I love? Is this my life's calling? Because I was going in. Dude. And let me tell you what, like, this was, oh, here's another one, I guess. Why not? This is another contender for my profile pic. So the funny thing is, and this is like a reason why I was thinking of like not doing it after all. The funny thing is, at this point in the night, I believe at this point, it might have reached 8 p.m. by the time I finally left my hotel room. Because, again, it took me a while to recover, then it took me a while to get ready. So, it was like legit nighttime now. And it's a Saturday night, so people are still around, of course, but things are slowing down, naturally, right? And last year, I did not, even though I got close, I did not attend the anime rave. I was thinking about doing that this year, now that I sort of like knew what to expect, and I just had a lot more sort of realistic expectations of what my mindset should be, most importantly. I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about some other stuff. Well, the rave was sold out, so that was like instant, like, oh well, guess we're not doing that. There was other stuff that I don't remember. I think I might have just not wanted. Oh no! It was because there's a big panel. I mentioned it before in earlier years. I think it's called just Bad Anime. There's a very popular panel where you just watch and laugh at bad anime, and it's really fun. I only know this because I went there a whole decade ago. Jeez. But it's like a yearly tradition. It's such a fun. It's always Saturday night. But by the time I was ready to leave, the panel had already started. And I knew this too, but before I got ready, I'm like, oh man, if I try to get ready for this cosplay, I'm not gonna make it to that panel. So that's another reason why I thought maybe I wouldn't do this. But ultimately, I went with it, of course. And by the way, you don't have to show up at the panel or the event as soon as it begins, unless it's like packed. Like fully packed. Even then, usually people like leave in the middle of it, so you'll have a seat. But I don't know. I feel awkward. Y'all know me. I don't like being potentially awkward, even though I always am. So if I don't get there, if I don't get there in the beginning, I'm like, well, I guess that's it. I'm not gonna be that person who just waddles in. So yeah. TLDR, I got this cosplay ready without a plan. There was nothing that I wanted to do at this time of night. I just wanted to be in this cosplay. And this is something, again, hopefully I remember to like, this is part of my overall sort of like lesson that I learned from this weekend. Sometimes you don't need a plan. Sometimes it's just nice to be you, or at least the you that you want to be. By the way, my contacts look really nice in this particular photo. I don't know. It just stuck out to me. Sometimes just being me, just out and about, it just felt right. Like, I can't properly explain it without going into the whole spiel that I wanted to give later on. But hopefully you get it. Sometimes it's just nice to be out and about. I didn't need a plan. I didn't need to do anything to like. I didn't feel like I needed to validate being in this cosplay. I just wanted to be. I just wanted to exist. I just wanted to be out there as this version of me. One of the truest forms of myself, I would say, even if this is the first time that I'm wearing this cosplay. And this was a big step for me as well, because I mean just look at it. This is the most like risque outfit. It's like pretty tame for an anime convention, let's be honest. It's pretty tame for an anime convention, and just bunny costumes in general, like pretty common. It's not, it's not anything crazy, but for me, this is like the most risque that I would be in public. So that was like kind of nerve-wracking, but I wanted to take that step to be like, yeah, man, whatever, dude. We don't gotta be self-conscious about it, right? Dude, I'm telling you, it's just certain lighting. I don't know. My eyes just look really nice here. Whereas earlier, like I said, I was looking evil. I was looking evil earlier because of my contacts and the lighting, but now I'm looking so pleasant. Maybe it's just because I was feeling myself. Maybe it's just my mood. I'm like, yo, we're back in this. But the reason why I put this picture here is it's not just because I look cool, but also because it's low-key foreshadowing. I'm not gonna say exactly how, because that would ruin it, obviously. But just know that this picture, in some way, is foreshadowing. Alright. So, I go back out to the flowers. And I feel like this is my personal redemption arc, right? Because I was telling you about the lighting, especially in this particular area, because of the cloudiness. But now, like, I hate to say this, but, like, it's dark outside. So I can rely on the good old man-made lights. I know framing it that way is so whack. But, you know, legitimately, the cloudy weather just made everything look like shit. So in times like these, I don't feel bad that I'm relying on the man-made lights, okay? You gotta do what you gotta do. And especially in this room. I've always loved this room for those red flowers. I still don't know what they're called. There's also, like, some trees. I wish I took some pictures of the trees. Either way, this was like my redemption arc. This was like a statement to my past self. Like, yeah, never give up. We came back. We came back, and now we're killing it. Okay? And this is the photo I posted on social media. Again, there's several more photos that I took here. But why do I like this one better now? I don't know. Anyway. There's several photos I took here. But I'm trimming it down as fast as I can, even though it's now 2 hours and 20 minutes. Trust me, trust me, I'm actually making the story shorter, believe it or not. Anyway, so this split is called Lights Out, Glow Up. Lights Out, obviously, because it's nighttime. Glow Up, not just because of my appearance, not just because I think I look sick. It's also because of what other people think. Because when I tell you that as soon as I sat in this spot, it felt like the entire mall just turned to look at me. Now, obviously, literally, that is not true. Literally speaking, not even close to true. But that's how it felt. It was really uncanny. There wasn't that many people here. Usually it's full, right? But, you know, it's getting late-ish. There's only a few people here. Right now in the background, you can't see anyone there. But I sat in this spot. And here, by the way, I am using my, what's it called? Selfie stick and the light to help out a little bit. I sit down. I start setting that up. I start, like, getting it from my bag. And instantly, like I said, it felt like everybody just turned to look at me specifically. And I end up having 3 interactions back to back. All of which are, like, various levels of sort of, like, I don't know what you'd call it. I'll let you be the judge, okay? I'm gonna give you it in chronological order. I'm not ranking this in any way, but I think you'll find that all 3 of them are very distinct. They're all similar. They're all similar in that they are people who wanted my attention. But they're all very distinct. They're all different levels of something. Okay? So, the first one, I consider by far the least desirable. But We're going chronologically here. It's just coincidentally the worst one, in my opinion. So I sit down, and these two, I don't know, they seem like middle-aged, maybe. These two middle-aged people are walking by. And I'm assuming they had been behind me before I sat down. Because by the time I noticed them, which is pretty fast, because, you know, I sat down, I unzipped my bag, and I just naturally looked to the left from where I came from. And I already see they're, like, looking at me and, like, smiling. And they, how do I describe this? Let's just say this was the first time I've ever been catcalled. It was so abrupt. They weren't, like, rude necessarily, but it didn't seem, like, innocent. Does that make sense? They weren't rude, but it wasn't innocent. The best... I forget exactly what they said, so I apologize for not being... I, like, legit forgot what they said. It was honestly kind of like basic catcalling stuff. Like, if you ever watched a TV show where a dude catcalls an attractive woman, like, pretty much the same thing happened here. Or, God forbid, if that ever happened to you, you know. But, what was I saying? Oh, the vibe that I felt, and this could be me just being me. Maybe it was innocent. I don't think so, but the vibe that I felt just from, like, the way they were, like, smiling, the way they said, it felt like either, there's one of two things. One of two things. Maybe both, honestly. Either they were just, like, creepy. Like, they were genuinely, like, catcalling me, trying to, like, I don't know. Or number two, it was more of, like, in jest. More of, like, oh, I bet you won't say that to... I don't know, it kind of felt like, oh, I bet you... Like, a friend almost, like, kind of daring, right? I'm not saying that's what they did, but I'm saying, like, in that situation, if you had a friend be like, oh, you know, no balls, you won't do this, and then the friend does it, and you're almost, like, kind of giggling in disbelief, oh my god, you know, it was like that kind of energy as well. So I couldn't tell you what exactly their intentions were. I'm just telling you the vibes, right? I'm just telling you the vibes, which, you know, I'm not the most reliable narrator, but as someone who has never been catcalled, it just felt that way. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you don't need to experience something to kind of just feel like that is exactly what it is. So that happened. And I was not expecting it. Mind you, I did expect... Look, I know the outfit I'm wearing. I'm not surprised if anybody creeps on me a little bit. That, unfortunately, I expect. But in that way, and it happened so fast. Like, literally, as I sat down, it just happened. And I'm like, okay. And by the way, like, I did not let it get to me at all. Like, when I tell you that I was at a 10 out of 10 confidence and charisma, like, I just, like, laughed back at them. That's literally all I did. Like, it was almost like a barely acknowledgement. Because I was, like, getting the stuff out of my bag, like I said. I just kind of, like, looked at them for, like, a second and laughed, and then went back, like, just promptly resumed what I was doing. And that's good. Like, you know, if it was in jest, the last thing I'd want is for them to, like, think they bothered me, right? But I was literally riding this high. I'm a very, like, emotional, momentum-based person. Like, nothing could touch me. Like, I didn't give a shit. Anyway. Next thing happened. And it felt so surreal. It all happened so fast. So after that happens, almost immediately, but not close enough that it feels like planned or whatever. Like, there's a realistic gap between them, but the fact that they happened in rapid succession was weird. This I mean, it was just a guy and a girl. I don't know if they were a couple or whatever. The girl comes up to me. It's a woman, probably late 20s or 30s. She comes up to me, and she's just so... She's blunt, but like in a chill way. She's like, hey, I think you look cool, so like, can I take a picture with you? Now, because of the way she said it, I don't think she recognized my cosplay. Could be wrong. But I almost kind of preferred what she said. It's like, hey. She said it so smooth, too. It was like blunt, yet chill and smooth. Like, oh, hey, I think you look cool. I never got up for a picture so fast. So I'm like, hey, yeah. I'd love to. That's great. So I took a picture with her. She went about her business with the other dude. And then, again, in near rapid succession. This time, like, a little bit older of a couple. So I would say they're probably the oldest of the three groups I mentioned. So, well, they're all pairs, by the way. That's weird. They're probably in their 40s. And this time it's the guy who asked me for a picture. Again. No, not again, actually. This time for sure, I know they did not recognize my cosplay. So it's just funny that, like, 3 back-to-back interactions, none of which are recognizing my character. They just think I look attractive and or cool. Anyway, this couple, they want my picture. And the guy gets the picture with me. And then his wife, she starts just asking me about the convention. Because, I would have to assume that people know, if they've been living there for a while, they know that this happens every now and then. They know that this spot particularly is popular for the cosplayers, right? So they just start asking me questions about the convention. And I just start answering them. Not in a way that I'm not like super engaged. Admittedly, I'm not like, yeah, it's like, I'm more like kind of plainly describing it. I just kind of want to like get back to what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like super thrilled to be explaining what an anime convention is to them at like 8 or 9 p.m. But, I appreciated the curiosity, So yeah, it was 3 back-to-back interactions with their own vibe. Rapid succession. The first one was like low-key gross. The second one was awesome. And the third one was just genuine curiosity. 3 different flavors of interactions that you can have at an anime convention, or just out and about in a costume of like the one I'm wearing. So yeah, I was like, wow, I'm the center of attention out of nowhere. And I do end up going back to the convention for a little bit. Admittedly, it's just to like, again, I don't have any planned activities I want to do. So I'm just kind of walking around, just kind of being present. And it's just nice. It's just nice to... I mentioned this last year. I just like the late night vibe at conventions, even this mall right here. Just something about it. I just love the late night vibes. I really couldn't tell you. I love it when there's a lot of people just because you see so many people with like-minded feelings and hobbies and all that, but I don't know. When it's getting late and it's more chill, it's like pretty cozy. So I was just enjoying the atmosphere and getting to. And I should also mention too, like, it wasn't just those 3 interactions. So while I was with Dog Night, I think this was in the dealer's room, but I don't remember exactly. Somebody wanted my picture while I was in the school uniform, Marin. And I was kind of surprised about that one. I will, I will admit. There might have been a second one too. There might have been a second person who wanted my picture as well. But I can't remember every exact detail. Especially since we've been talking for two and a half hours with no notes. I can't remember every exact interaction and exchange, but just know it was not just those 3 interactions. It really felt like the energy changed as soon as I put on this cosplay. And that made me feel happy because not only was I just personally satisfied with it, but to kind of feedback is a strong word, but just to get people sort of praising me or sort of just giving me attention because they like the cosplay. It's a great feeling. So yeah, for the most part, we just kind of chilled out. There's not any particular story. I think I remember Sunday better because obviously Sunday is today. It's about to hit midnight, but for now it is still today. So hopefully I will remember more concrete interactions for you. But yeah, the rest of Saturday from here on was chill. To the point that I had to get my Ben & Jerry's, baby! You thought we would leave behind Ben & Jerry's out of the late night anime convention vibes? No! We got it again, baby. We're living our lives out here. But I will say this was a mistake. This was a mistake. This was a Nara moment. I'm gonna be real. The Ben & Jerry's was delicious. I got the strawberry cheesecake. What was a mistake was ordering a large. I should not be doing that in my condition. I looked at the menu. Oh god, this is embarrassing. I looked at the menu. They had 2 sizes, small and large. And then small said 2 scoops. Right? In my head, that meant 2 spoonfuls. And I'm like, damn, that's small. I'm like, damn, that's small. That's not gonna fill me up. 2 spoonfuls? I don't know why I read it that way. But yeah, they gave me way too much. It doesn't look like way too much, but again, just in my condition. And also not even being like really that hungry. It was more of just like a late night delight. I did not finish it. I felt so bad. Like, I got like halfway and I was like, I can't. Like, my body will crumble. I just got this amazing high with this cosplay. I can't let it all go now. So yeah. I mean, luckily, you know, if you've been paying attention, this day in general has been a shitty eating day. Like, just terrible. Just terrible for any person, you know? But luckily, maybe it's because I was just active the whole day, for the most part. I didn't really like feel any sort of troubles. So that was good. At the very least, I didn't feel stressed by that. All right. And by the way, avert your eyes if you might have like any sort of eyesight problems, because I tried to. So I took this picture. There's a beautiful view. There's a beautiful view of the city at night, and I took a picture. And then my iPhone, it looked great. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, this is gonna be like such a cool thing. But the fucking iPhone, especially with the new iOS, ever since I updated, it like puts some certain settings on by default, and it just screws everything. Like, it was a problem all weekend. I would have to manually like turn shit off every time I swapped to the camera. I turned some stuff off. This time I forgot to do it, but then it looked fine. Trust me, it looked fine after I took it. It looked fine, but then I trusted it. I don't know. I trusted it. The reason why I took this, though, well, it's not the reason, but I'm still glad I took it. Because lo and behold, going into Sunday, let's do a quick comparison. I know it looks shitty now, but look at this shit! Am I in Silent Hill all of a sudden? What is this? What is this? It's not just cloudy, it's foggy. As if it couldn't get worse. I was pissed when I woke up. First thing I did was turn around and look out the window and just, I was hurt. But yeah, Sunday is a shorter day. I think it all closes at 4 p.m. But unlike Saturday, I did not get up. I was not trying to move early. I got up at like 8:30, which is when I got to the convention on Saturday. I got up at 8:30, and I have to check out by 11 a.m. So that gives me 2.5 hours to get ready. Just plenty of time, clearly. I barely make it out in time because, like I said, putting that cosplay together, like, goodness gracious. If I stuck to my ambitions and started experimenting with makeup, that's something I use a little bit of makeup already, but if I really went for it, like, oh my god, I'm gonna be taking years to get ready. See, I barely make it out because I did all that, and I also, like, still taking photos or whatever I wanted to do. Just like, it's like a last chance in my hotel room, so, try to have no regrets. And this is me, just, after I got ready, feeling good. Oh, yeah, I'm wearing the bunny costume again. This was not exactly part of my plan. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to wear. Actually, I was like heavily leaning towards the school outfit because that's just easier to like put on, and it's just like, it's easier to put on, also easier to take off. That's actually important because I wouldn't have this hotel room anymore, so I would have to, like, either take the public transit in my cosplay again or take it off in the bathroom. And also, I just think the school outfit is kind of more fitting of daytime. Like, this to me seems more of like an evening vibe, like I did the last night. It doesn't matter too much, but that's just kind of the brighter colors, you know what I mean? But just because of the shockingly positive reception that I had Saturday night from both myself and the surrounding people, I'm like, well, I gotta go again. And I was excited because that was only for like, to put this in perspective, to really. No, I'll say that for a little later. Because that's a big statement. But yeah, I was willing to just put more effort into it, even if this was going to be a very relatively brief day, right? Sundays are always like the least going on, just inherently. That's just how it is. Makes sense. It's like so low stakes, but I'm like, we got to go all out. It's okay. But there's a problem. Remember when I talked about that foreshadowing? Let's see if I can find it. Oh, well, I just went to the actual one. Some of you might have noticed that number 27 in that previous photo. That's because I was on floor 27. But the number doesn't really matter. It's the classic Sunday morning elevator hell. This happens every year. It sucks. For those who don't know, everyone is trying to leave at around the same time. So that means the elevators are heavily occupied. You gotta wait just to go down a single floor, unless you take the stairs, which, you know, if it is a single floor, you better take the stairs. You might as well. But for some reason, if for some reason you had to take maybe you're disabled or something, you know, if you had to take an elevator, even just one level could be an arduous task. That's how long the waits can be. Like, people would show up finally when you finally have an elevator open up. You look at it, it's just full. You never had a chance. Might as well just have it closed. And remember, with my floor number, with me having a suite for some reason, that meant I had a quote-unquote priority elevator. That meant jack shit on Sunday. What priority? There were no priorities. It didn't mean anything. I was thinking, oh, that means I'm about to skip the Sunday. No. If everyone's a priority, no one's a priority. You know what I'm saying? When everyone's trying to leave, it's just bad. So that took a while, but there was a it's like kind of funny, but it was mostly awkward. So when I finally got in an elevator, which took a really long time, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 30 minutes, but it was probably like 20. I finally got in an elevator. So the trick is to go to an elevator going up, because it's less likely to be full. You know, it fills up as it goes up. So you take an elevator going up and finally go all the way down. That's the trick. I do that, and we reach... Oh my god, this is so awkward. We reach max occupancy, and then, you know, every time we go to a floor, we gotta tell everybody, hey, sorry, this is full, right? On one of those floors, some 50-ish year old dad, clearly not here for the convention. He's not with his child. He's not with anybody. He doesn't have cosplay or luggage or anything. He's just a normal dude in the hotel, you know? Even though we tell everybody we're at max occupancy, he just goes in anyway. He just kind of sneaks in there. And right away, in my head, I'm like, yo, if we die because this motherfucker, I'm like, yo, this might be it. Like, as you know, it's a little over dramatic, but I'm like, yo, if this is how I die, it's because this 50-year-old dad just trying to go to the pool or whatever he's doing. He's not even trying to leave. I think it's a gym. He's trying to go to the gym. I'm like, are you serious? Go down the stairs. You're trying to exercise anyway. Anyway, he starts chopping it up. You know, friendly dude. Yo, even though we were like actively telling him, hey, no, actually no, because then he starts suggesting, oh, maybe we could sneak on like one other, and we keep telling him like, no, that's not good, that's not good. But he's kind of ignoring, you know, he seems like a friendly dude, but like he didn't like really get the message of what he didn't really. I don't know, man. But regardless, he's like friendly in an uncomfortable way. He's just ignoring the important information just to chop it up. You know what I'm saying? And he starts saying, "Oh my god, this was the single most awkward moment of the entire." This to me beats out the cat calling thing, because at least the cat calling thing was like, "Hey, yeah, I do look cute. You're right." But this was like, it's so awkward that I actually do find it hilarious. He's trying to relate to us, so he's like, "Oh yeah, you know." Back in my day, I used to go to, like, Star Trek conventions, and people would look at me like I was weird. Like I was too much of a nerd, you know? But now when I see you guys now, you know, it brings me back. It brings me back to that time, and it makes me happy. And we're like, yeah, we're like getting on board with it. You know, maybe we were wrong about this. Yeah, you know, but then he's like, oh, yeah, but, you know, I don't... We're like, yeah, that's cool, man. And he's like, oh, yeah, but I don't really do that anymore because I'm conservative now. he just so, like, plainly says that. Yeah, I don't do that anymore because I'm conservative now. And look, maybe he didn't mean it in that way. In the way that I think. In the way that many of us would think that he meant that. Maybe he just meant that he's conservative in his hobbies. You know? That's, you know, I give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe that's what he meant. Because otherwise, this is mad awkward that he's standing right next to people that conservative people would hate. I mean, I'm literally right next to him. But then I see his shirt, and it says, it's like some sort of like math reference, but then it starts out with like God, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, how is this happening? How did you end up with us, and how did we end up with you? And how are you still trying to chop it up as if this isn't like weird? Like, he just keeps going. He doesn't stop. Like, he doesn't, you know. Again, it could be totally innocent, right? But it was just so awkward. Like maybe he didn't understand the implications of what he just said. But it was so awkward. But the type of awkward that I can look back at and just laugh at. It was just like, wow. Anyway. Whoo! So, I go back to the artist alley. And it might look like I'm happy here. Like I'm finally happy to be at the artist alley. But it's not necessarily that. I'm more so like laughing here. Because once again, one way or another, I'm in a situation where I don't know where to go. I'm lost. Somehow, some way. Because when me and Dog Knight were there the previous day, I didn't buy anything, but I was taking, like, mental notes. Because, you know, I didn't want to, like, buy something And it turns out, oh, well, I actually want this thing more. But now that I just spent, like, my budget is, like, now lessens, even though I want this thing more. So, I more so just, like, took mental notes, you know, kind of gauge what I'm feeling. And then if I want to buy something, you know, bam, there you go. I'll know where to go. That was the plan, but I must emphasize mental notes. I didn't do a good job. Specifically, I wanted to buy charms for one of my friends from work. They absolutely love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I thought to myself, oh, that's like a classic anime. Like, it's not new. It's not going to be as trendy as, like, even like One Piece, you know, it's still going. It's old, but it's still going. It's not going to be like that, but, like, it's Full Metal Alchemist. It's going to be easy. Tell me how me and Dog Knight could not find Full Metal Alchemist anywhere. It's like it never existed. Except for one booth. There was a single booth which had Full Metal Alchemist charms, but in hindsight it makes sense. It wasn't just Full Metal Alchemist. They had they had so many charms. It was crazy. So many charms. So many charms that I thought it was suspicious, to be honest. I'm like, how do you have like how do you have this many charms? Is this illegal? But yeah, I was trying to find that booth. Took me a while. And then also, I'll just show you actually the, these are the two that I have right here. Hawkeye and Mustang. Amazing characters. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, by the way. I watched that in full recently. Amazing. I love it. Oh, what up, Sukino? This is me at Any Revo trying to remember the booth. I saw a Unipin. Yeah, like, it would have been so easy for me to just write it down. No, that's the thing. I did write... This example, I did write down. I wrote down their name. But somehow, I just couldn't find... I was walking around the artist alley. Like that one... Was it John Travolta meme? Where he's just looking around confused? That was me. I couldn't find the logo somehow. I'm like, did they leave? Because, like, not every booth stays the whole weekends. I think sometimes, you know, depending on circumstances, they might leave. Anyway, it wasn't just this. It was also... Man, we're coming up on 3 hours. Holy shit. It wasn't just... Oh, no, hold on. Oh, sorry, guys. I just saw a Monolith Soft tweet. It's not important, though. It's just behind the scenes. I thought it was like some sort of announcement. I'm like, bro, we gotta cancel the story time. I'm like, guys, it's been real. But anyway, it wasn't just that. This has been a mission for me for so long, but it can never come together. I also wanted a figurine of, you guessed it, Marin Kitagawa. But specifically, I wanted it in just her default outfit. Because, you know, there's so many figures of her. But most of them are in, like, some sort of cosplay. Which is fine. There's plenty of, like... I wish I put a picture here for you. But I didn't do that, so my bad. There's plenty of, like, great cosplay that she does. Which makes for great figurines. But, similar to how I wanted to do this cosplay, like, I want to, like, first and foremost, be her, right? Like, if I get any figure, I just want it to be her. At least first. Like, that's my gateway. Like, maybe I'll buy more in the future, but, like, at the very least, the first one, I just want it to be her. And that is just surprisingly difficult. There's a few online you can find, but you know, whether it was last year or the year before or this year, I just couldn't find it. I looked with Dog Night Saturday and I was like, you know what? Let's try again. I looked again, and I just couldn't. It was very difficult. There was actually a few. It wasn't in her default outfit, but there was few. It was a few. I'm like, okay, worst comes to worst, we'll look at those ones because surprisingly, they're a decent price. You know, a figure for like $30 to $40, not like a mini figure, but like an actual decently sized. I'm like, okay, no, that's pretty good for the dealer's room. Tell me how. Tell me how there's this one booth with 2 Marin figures that I was interested in. We saw it on Friday, or sorry, Saturday. We saw it on Saturday. I took some mental notes. This time I knew exactly where to go. This is the one time I knew exactly where to go. I go there, nowhere in sight. You telling me someone bought both of them? Doesn't have to be the same person. But come on. Are you serious? I know I took that risk. Even Dog Night was like, are you sure it's not going to sell out? And I'm like, nah, man, we're good. We weren't good. And so that led to my hide and seek. my scavenger hunt. But, admittedly, I was taking way too long. Like even as I was looking, I'm like, this is not, like, I gotta get out of here. But yeah, I did not. We don't have any results to share. If you're hoping that I'd be like, and I have it right here, I don't. Sorry. There was 2 figures that met my prerequisites, but one of them was like $40, I think. I'm not gonna name them. I'm not gonna name that booth because I didn't think it looked good. The quality did not look good to me. So, I'm gonna be nice and not name them. The second one was like a more, I forget, I think it was Pop-Up Parade. That's the brand of, maybe not brand, but like the line of figurines. That was there. Not the same booth. But I found that for Marin. But that was $65. Whereas I'm pretty sure it released to like $30 USD when you do the conversion of yen. And then even now you could probably find it for $40. So I'm like, 65? 15 extra for what? What are you talking about? And I was like, look, even my love for this character is not enough for me to be scammed. It's not enough for me to give in to capitalism. I'm sorry. So, yeah. We felt like 2 days in a row going into dealer's room in Artist Alley was a waste of time for me. But hey, still good vibes. I actually got, so remember I was talking about, like, I don't remember too many like specific interactions. I just know that in general a lot more people were attentive to this cosplay. Like, they wanted a picture. They said like, oh, nice cosplay, Actually, there was this one cute one. So somebody wanted a picture in the dealer's room. That was nice. Love taking pictures for people. Especially when it's like, I prefer it. This is just me. I prefer it when it's like me and then the person who wants it. If it's just me, I don't know. Like, I'm still cool with it, don't get me wrong. But, like, I don't know. It feels, like, cooler when, like, oh, you want to be in the picture with me? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Anyway. So that was in the dealer's room. But in the artist alley, this was so cute. So there was this, like, there was, like, a trio of, like, they seemed like they were 15 years old. They seemed quite young. And then they had, like, a mom with them. So they were definitely young. And then one of them, I'm just like behind them. They're looking at some sort of art. I'm just behind them, like looking, you know. And then it seems like the most, like, leader of the bunch, you know him well, you know. She turns around and she sees me. And she gives me the most she gives me the most like dramatic gasp. Like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. She was like, oh! I can't even like suck enough air in my lungs to replicate her genuine reaction to my cosplay. She's like, oh, I love your cosplay. She was so sweet. So yeah. Those are 2 examples real quick. But yeah, that happened kind of throughout this noontime, afternoon. It was mostly like people wanting pictures. But sometimes, of course, it would just be like, oh, I love your cosplay. Or, oh, nice cosplay, you know? So, that was very nice. I should have said that more in this split. But, not that big of a deal. Again, I didn't have any plans, really. I just kind of, well, you know, there were options, for sure. But because I took so long to get out of my hotel room, and then took so long to get out of the hotel, the plans, you know, not as many possibilities as it seems. So yeah, I was okay to once again just kind of float around with my cosplay. Also take some pictures, and this is where I could feel my confidence growing, because this is at the 3rd floor, which is like known to be like the cosplayer floor. Like if you're a cosplayer, you can go anywhere, of course. There's cosplayers all around. But like when it comes to like the more professional ones, the more like, you know, they got their fancy cameras, and they got like a group cosplay, and they got like the professional photographers. You know, if it's not in that mall near the Red Flowers, they're like on the 3rd floor of the convention. And it's always packed. It's all this hallway is always packed. It's crazy. But usually I'm just walking by. Maybe I'll ask someone for a photo. You know what I'm saying? But this was the first time I actually like low key became one of those cosplayers. Like this time, yeah, I had my own setup. Obviously, it wasn't like professional, but you know, I just kind of did my thing. Like normally, I would be like too self-conscious. Or I'd be like, well, it's too busy, it's too packed, or, you know, whatever the reason might be, I just wouldn't be feeling it. But, like, I was just feeling myself. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll kind of blend in. Like, you can't notice it, but, like, to the right of this photo, there's literally, like, this professional photographer like directing this cosplayer to do some crazy poses on a chair. Like it got kind of wild to the right of me right here. Meanwhile, I'm just doing my own thing. But that's how it is. That's how this hallway is. If you've never been to that type of cosplay hallway, that's just how it is. You got you get a lot of wild stuff going on, a lot of antics, all in the name of good photographs and good videos. But like it's normal. You're not gonna like freak out or you're not gonna be like feeling awkward. It's just kind of how it is. So it was nice to kind of be a part of that. You know, not to the same level, but again, blend in. Like it's good to blend in sometimes, especially when it's like a group that you sort of like look up to and you look forward to seeing all the time. Now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm just in there. So that was nice. It was to the point that I even, like, for the first time, I even use one of these. What do you call these things? I don't know. Photography stands. Some kind of stands. Whatever it is, I used it. There's like, I think there's like 4 of these on that floor. I just happened to see this one, not empty, but like the person just finished, so I was like, alright, it's now or never. So, that was also a nice first time experience. Also, if you're wondering why I keep doing the hand thing, well, it's obviously like for the bunny ears, you know? But specifically, this figure right here was like a big inspiration for the cosplay. I know the last one I showed obviously was too, but this figure in particular, I'm like, yo, that's dope. I want to be just like her. Now, I've been mentioning that like people, you know, they compliment me or they want a picture. But unlike 2024, I didn't really ask anybody for pictures. It's not that I didn't want it, but I just didn't. Again, it was a weird weekend. Saturday specifically had a lot of downs, so I just felt like I wasn't really in that mood. Wasn't really in the socializing mood. Not in the garner my courage to speak to the stranger mood. You know what I'm saying? But there's one exception. As usual, I'm cosplaying Marin, so if I can find anyone else who's cosplayed as Marin, it would be great if we got a picture together. Now, unfortunately, this is a funny sort of callback, actually. If you guys might remember, low chance, but you might remember at Shake Shack last year, I was dressed as Marin, waiting for my food, and Shake Shack was packed because it was like the lunchtime rush hour. But that was the time that I saw another Marin cosplayer. We were in the same exact outfit, but they were prettier because they got all the makeup. They looked like a true gyaru. And then like we didn't exchange any words because we were like very briefly passing by each other in this packed place, but we saw each other immediately. And then she gave me like this little like hand wave, like a little wiggle of the fingers. It was such like a, you know, no words at all, but like full acknowledgement. Like, oh, I see you. Like, you know, that kind of thing. Like, oh, I see you. And I was just like, oh. The same exact thing happened this year, but in reverse. Where it was on this floor. It wasn't Sunday. On Saturday, I walked by the 3rd floor. Again, packed. There was no time for slowing down. Traffic had to move. And I briefly passed by this other Marin cosplayer. And we know each other at the same time. And we were both so excited to see each other. Like, as soon as she looked at me, she was like, oh, you know. But then I don't know. I just had a flashback to that moment at Shake Shack. So I didn't say anything. I just did the little I just did the little finger wave, the finger high wave that the Shake Shack girl did to me. It was such a flashback moment, but like we were in reverse roles where she was like astounded to see me, but I just played it cool. I mean, I would have loved the photo, obviously, but like, you know, huge traffic. So yeah, that was a shame, especially since she was so excited. But at the very least, I did get this one. Now, What I don't like about this picture, I think this is a good picture, but I don't like it because there's still traffic. That has not changed despite there being... You might be like, well, Sunday, you know, not as many people. Things are winding down. Lies. Lies. It was Sunday at noon. People acting like the convention's not ending. It was just a lot going on. Because, like, even if it's not... For those who don't know, even if it's not, like, bodies so close to each other, it's still traffic in the sense of, like, people are taking pictures. They need that space, right? So just because it looks like there might be space for you, nope. Because it's actually space for the sake of a photo or whatever, right? So I literally asked for a photo, and I looked around. Well, we both looked around like, oh, should we ask someone to take it? But then, like, everybody was in their own world doing their own thing. So I was like, okay, well, never mind. I'll just take a selfie, I guess. And it's fine, you know. It's all good. But, you know, I look back to what happened on Saturday with that other girl. And I'm like, yeah, you know, even if I tried, it might have not been ideal. Or at the very least, it's understandable that we didn't get the photo together because when you have so much going on, that's just how it is. Alright. So before I head home, mercifully, as I'm somehow approaching the 3-hour 30 mark, as I prepare to go home, or before I prepare to go home, I gotta get some food again. Another Nara food trip. And now this one I'm embarrassed to admit. You ever been somewhere, pretty commonly, 3 years in a row, and then you discover, like, why have I never been down this hallway? The Prudential Center, it's huge, but the layout is very particular and memorable. And also simple. It's not... Just imagine like a plus sign, right? It's not literally a plus sign, but that's kind of how it is. You have that center area. It's like just a square. And then you have 4 hallways that lead to the rest of the mall. Right? Basically like a plus sign. Somehow I just never gone to one of those lanes, we'll call it. Because I'm looking for this place. Should I name... I mean, it's very obvious to find them, but... I wanted to try this place because I wanted to get some tacos. I'm like, I can have chicken tacos. That is something I can have in my life, and I'm happy about it. I just wanted a chicken taco. You know? And I ordered it online. Much like I did for Shake Shack. Just in case there's a big line, I'm like, oh, order it online, you know? And similar thing happened where no, this was not on me. This was not on me. I look up Prudential Center map on Google, and it shows me like, oh yeah, here you go. Here's the layout. Here's where you want to go. I'm like, cool. You know, it's north of the center. I'm at the center, so let me go north. I go north. I'm at CVS again out of nowhere. I'm like, what happens? I was supposed to... I didn't see it. So I go back to the center. I look at a different map. And then it's like different. It's like rotated. Because it's like a plus. You know what I mean? Like, people are just not having the same orientation for the map. So I'm out here getting lost. I'm out here getting lost in an almost linear mall. And then I end up here, and I've never been to this part. It looks nice and cozy. How have I never been to this part? It didn't make any sense. I don't know what that thing on the left is, by the way. But there's a lot of food places here. Specifically, there's a ramen place back there that people really like. I didn't get it though because ramen is like kind of a risk for me depending on the day. So I just went with my chicken tacos. And let me tell you, okay, here's the thing. I ordered one. I just ordered one chicken taco because I didn't know how big it was gonna be. And I wasn't trying to, like, I was gonna have like beans in there too. I wasn't trying to go crazy, you know. I just had to see for myself first before I start acting out, right? I can't let this be another Ben and Jerry situation. So I just went with one taco. And for the record, like, okay, for the record, I'm just be. This might be on me, okay? You might be saying, Nara, this is normal. You might be saying, Nara, you're the problem, okay? Let me just get that preamble out of the way. This might be on me, okay? When I got the oh fuck, hold on. When I got the taco, I'm like, this shit is hella small. This is not gonna fill me up. This is not gonna fill me up. And you know what? I can accept that. I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, it was less than $5, so like, yeah, okay, fine, sure. I get it. I can accept that. But then I open it, and I'm like, you know what? This might not fill me up, but you know what is filled up? The taco. The taco was overflowing. It was hard to eat it like a taco because there was so much shit on it. And again, this might be normal. This might be on me because I was the one who said, you know what? Give me that chicken, give me that lettuce, give me those beans. Maybe it's on me. And I can accept that. Okay? I'm just saying I was not pleased. I'm just saying that it felt like a balancing act with this taco. I just had to. It's like I was juggling this taco just to make sure the ingredients held together. You know? The taco itself tasted fine. But by the way, I told them to put some hot sauce on there. No hot sauce. Just put some more beans, I guess. Okay? I was pissed. And so you know what I did? So you know what I did instead? Well, I ate the taco. But I'm like, okay, well, you know, I tried it out. I'm good. I'll know for next time. But you know what I did? I went back to Starbucks, baby. Oh. Goodness. Anyway. Now, if you want to hear about a wrap, let us finally wrap up this excessively, but honestly not surprisingly, long story time. Where, unfortunately, you know, it's reaching the closing time of the convention. I think I left at 3 because the last event, it's like closing ceremony at 3. I didn't want to go to the closing ceremony because of, you know, I don't want to just sit there. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm just cool to leave. And the problem is that I can't just go back home like this. That's not, you know, I'd be getting some unwanted stares, but then I would have to, you know, have a lot of explaining to do about why I look the way I do. And so, I had to do a little bit of a, some might call it a Clark Kent, some might call it a Peter Parker, some might call it a Sailor Moon, the way I had to go to this bathroom to change my entire life. And let me tell you, I knew exactly where to go, okay? The 3rd floor, yeah, that's right, I went back to the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor, there's like a, like a low-key suspicious hallway that has these 2 bathrooms that, like, most people don't use because it's, like, out of the way. I knew that nobody, at least almost nobody was going to be in there, so I could just go in a stall and nobody would find me suspicious that I'm taking this long. And when I say I was taking this long, I was in the stall for so long, just changing all my clothes and just, it took longer than even I expected. And I also had to take my, I didn't have to, but I took off my contacts too, and that went really smoothly, which I was really proud of, because, you know, I'm still a little iffy on contacts, but thankfully today it went so smoothly, putting them on, taking them off. And yeah, this was me. I look so different. I look like a pissed off Asian uncle. Pissed off Asian uncle who works in tech. But yeah, that was the look I went with. Just to be... Because I didn't want to leave the bathroom. Look. I didn't want to leave the bathroom. And then people would be like, oh, was that the Marin who just... Well, what just happened? You know, I didn't want to be recognizable somehow. So... Yeah, I have the same glasses and, like, nail polish. But, like, you know... Look mostly different. Oh, shit. So, yeah. I end up going home. Here's this really well-groomed dog, by the way, that I saw. Very fancy dog. And then we gotta have our annual. We're ending it off with the annual My Cat Mona reaction live feed to me returning home after not being home. In this case, just for a day, but still. Oh, yeah. There you are. Never change. Never change. I love Monomo. Alright. Oh, actually, how do you go back on this? It's not actually over. It's not actually over. Because during the closing ceremony, I found this out on the subreddit. During the closing ceremony, they announced some exciting news. At least exciting to me. It's debatable whether or not it is exciting for you, but for me, it is exciting. Because with all my complaints about why the frick is it in April, Boston spring is basically winter. Ridiculous. Saturday, cloudy all day. Sunday, fog. Well, guess what? Next year, it's gonna be at the end of May, near the summertime, just like it was last year. And look, some people might not like that. Some people might say, no, that's not good. I don't know why they would say that. Maybe, you know, just for them, their own circumstances, they're like, it doesn't work for me. You know what? It works for me, baby. Hell yeah. I would much rather it be the end of May. You think I care about Memorial Day? No. I care about summer lovin'. That's what I care about. I want the sun when I go to my anime conventions. I want the sun whenever I go to Boston in general. Okay? That's what I want. Now, knowing me, just our luck, it's gonna be raining or some shit. It's gonna be snowing next year. Who knows? But that right there has made me excited. I'm very, very pleased with that. I want to congratulate everybody for making this far. I want to get to my key takeaways here. So you might have noticed something about the story time. Let's just go to a random photo, by the way. I don't know, I really like this one. I said it, I alluded to it at the beginning of this. It felt like nothing happens, but also a lot happens. So much yet so little. It depends on how you want to frame it, right? If you notice, the only panel or event that I went to was the Cosplay Deathmatch, which I was only there for the first round before I dipped, right? So in terms of actual activities at the convention, I didn't really do much. I just did one thing. If you don't count the dealer's room and artist alley, it was literally just one thing. And also, you know, this was supposed to be the whole weekend for me. It ended up being, you know, just Saturday and then the little bit of Sunday. And that's kind of why, you know, start with the negatives, I guess, the regrets. I still regret not being able to go to, you know, it was important for me to not go on Friday just so I can take care of some stuff. But I will admit, like, as I was leaving, the sadness kind of hit me because it was like, oh yeah, it's like over now, you know. And there's a lot of things that I could have done that I was interested in doing, but I didn't have that time, or if I didn't have that energy. So, you know, not being able to go on Friday, I was like, damn, you know, if I had more time, if I had that extra day like I planned, you know, we could have been able to do a lot more. And just, yeah, I mean, now I have to wait an extra year just to kind of do some of the things I already plan on doing, you know? And that sucks. It sucks to know that, like, yeah, this is once a year, which is what makes it which is what makes it special. If it happened multiple times a year, it would just get tiresome. You wouldn't care about it as much. I wouldn't care about it as much. But it's like, oh, and this is, you know, it's in May now, so it's like 13 months. Like, oh my god. Almost 14, honestly, at the end of May. That's a long wait to, you know, have another chance at doing several things. And it's nice we have all those options, you know. I don't ever want to feel like I've done everything. So it's not bad that I'm like, oh, I wish I did this and this. Because, yeah, that's another opportunity for next year. But, you know, just because of everything that went down these last 2 months, how all my plans just, like, fell apart, and how my life fell apart, quite frankly. You know, it sucks that this event that I had been waiting on ever since the last one. It's a shame that, like, it had to suffer. Like, I wish this could have been, like, something that I'm like, oh, you know, at least this is happening. You know, like, stuff sucks right now, but at least this is happening. At least this is like a vacation that I can spend, quote unquote, to kind of escape everything else. But no, it had to be affected because of everything else. I couldn't separate everything else from it because everything else was ruining it. You know? I mentioned the makeup thing before, but, like, that's something I really want to do. I really wanted to, like, actually get, like, pretty deep in that for these cosplays, but I pretty much just went very simple, just because, yeah, I didn't have that time, I didn't have that budget, I didn't have that, you know, experimentation process. I just kind of did the best I could, given everything. But I mentioned the phrase. This is what came to me, I think. So remember I was talking about. So before I put on this cosplay, and I was just in my hotel room for like an hour before I started to get ready. And, you know, I was thinking, like, you know, damn, like, I already wasted a lot of time. I feel like I could have maybe chose things to do better, you know? Maybe could have planned better. But then, once I got this all good, and I felt good about it, and I started walking out. And I was here. And this was even before like those 3 interactions I had. You know, I started thinking like it is kind of like the same thing, you know, for better or worse with vacations. Like when you think about a vacation, right? A lot of people have this problem of like we have to do this thing. Like we're on this vacation, we're gonna plan it because we want to make the best of it. So if the vacation comes and it doesn't go as planned, some people get like really stressed out, or they get upset, or they feel like, you know, because like a vacation that doesn't really come by often, right? So you want it to go as planned, you want it to be ideal, and that's all well and good. That makes sense. And that's kind of how I was feeling. I'm like, oh, I hope this goes as planned because everything else is not. And it wasn't. But then, as I was just walking around, and I, you know, I was just in this cosplay that I really wanted to do. I've been wanting to do it for like almost a year, right? Been wanting to do this cosplay for almost a year, and this was the one thing. This was the one thing, despite everything else, this was the one thing that I was still able to do in a way that I felt like perfectly happy with. Yeah, I mean, in the future I could do some improvements. Yeah, but as it is right now, I was like perfectly content. I was actually like, I should also mention this was the first time I put it on. That's like the whole thing on. I put on like different parts of it separately, but in terms of the whole thing, this is the first time I put it all on at once. So it was like it was just satisfying in that it was something I had planned for so long, and it came together. But it was also like pleasantly surprising. I'm like, oh, it even looks better than I imagined in my head. And just walking around with that, I don't know, it just kind of like sort of made me appreciate just being present. Like, I wasn't technically doing much, but I still felt a lot, if that makes sense. Like, just me being present, just me being in this area with these people, in a cosplay I really like. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it with words, but it was just like this very content feeling of like, instead of like forcing myself to do something, you know, it was just nice to just be. I use that phrase to just be here. So that's kind of the number one takeaway that I had. Like, this was like, I think on paper this was like the least eventful Anime Boston, at least compared to the last 2 years. I mean, most certainly. That's not even a question. On paper, it's like the least eventful. But I found it like the most fulfilling in terms of, like, obviously my efforts in cosplay, but also just kind of just the contentness of just being there. You know, just kind of chilling. And even getting to like blend in with everyone else in the third floor. Like, just things like that. And obviously, like, all the interactions I had. I've done, like, some stuff, like the speed friending, I think from 2 years ago that I did was really cool. But, like, to have all those interactions, all those strangers, I don't gotta tell you that feels great. I'm sure you know that must feel great, even if it's never happened to you. It felt like I was like truly there. Not that you have to cosplay or talk to strangers to enjoy a convention, but like it just felt different. So that's what I would that's what I'm gonna remember this one as. Like, so many things just came apart just as a result of life. But we absolutely nailed the most important thing. And I can't really complain. Can't really complain about that. I should also let you know, in case you're concerned, life is looking a little better lately. Okay, just I know I've been harping on it because it was important for the story, but don't be concerned. I'll be okay. It was just very relevant to why things unfolded the way they did. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else to say. Actually, I do. I regret to inform everybody that I made an Instagram and TikTok account. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't even know if I'm going to use it. But I took a lot of photos. I took a lot of videos that I did not show today. That's because I don't want to spam. That's because it's taking way too long already. And I just feel like I needed some sort of outlet for like feminine stuff and also cosplay. So that's why those two exist. They could easily not last. They're like barely set up. Like I'm talking about like this is like a skeleton. This is like a But that is something that hand over to Insta. If you want the Instagram or TikTok, it's AZN boygirl. Asian boy girl. Which is the same username as my previous Marvel Rivals Smurf account. See, again, I don't know. It could be literally nothing. Or maybe it could be something, because I just like having multiple social media accounts is like annoying to like follow all of them. But look, I'm very cognizant of like I'm not a consistent person in terms of what I output. You know, some people follow me for the streams. Many people follow me for Xenoblade. Other people follow me for like the video essays that I do. Not as much recently, but you know. Some people just like me, so they follow me on Blue Sky or whatever, or in the Discord. And I'm just like, hey, I appreciate that. And I know I can't. There's like so many elements of me. And I don't mind kind of separating them so that it's all organized and tidy instead of just dumping it everywhere. But yeah. There you go. I almost did cry before, by the way, when I was talking about this. I feel like that moment overshadowed my concluding speech, but hopefully the message, it's a little ambiguous of a message, but you know, I mean, it hasn't even been a full day since this happened, so maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and be like, dang, that sucks. I don't think so though. Very pleased. Definitely salvaged by the Saturday evening and then Sunday. Not to say like I don't want to come across like I didn't enjoy Saturday morning to afternoon. It was more that like, dang, this ain't going to plan. You know, after a whole year of anticipating this, it's not going to plan. It's like that kind of vibe. Rather than like, oh, I'm not enjoying this. So yeah. That took nearly 4 hours. That is terrible. Truly awful. If anyone listens in the future, or has already listened to this in full, first of all, I appreciate you. Second of all, I'm sorry. And third of all, surely there is something better you could have done. Listen to it in parts. Remember back in the day, the YouTube anime episode uploads? Speaking of anime, Naruto episode 2, part 1 out of 5.